Go Pizza presents STP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wylde.
You ever have a coffee that just doesn't take? Like it just doesn't work?
I think maybe your tolerance is too high. Speaking of
I
tolerance.
haven't thought of that.
Speaking of
Are we ready?
tolerance, so there were
Have
some
we
guys
started?
who
We
took
ready?
some edibles.
Okay, are we ready?
That's a perfect segue.
Yeah, let's maybe start with that.
You want to start with that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you?
I was not even paying attention, so I can't tell you whether it was a good segue or not.
Cool.
I will
this is
leave it to
just
the
you and I
audience.
For the first time.
No, I'm going to cut it off so
Okay.
nobody knows what we're talking about.
Oh, that's
There you
good. Have we started then?
Oh, yeah.
Steve, you got a thing. You
First-
had some schmutz here.
Is it a
Some
fluff?
schmutz.
You had some
I got a fluff.
Yeah.
On today's episode, Adam is an old Jewish man.
Well, he was already a 60-plus-year-old aunt,
Yeah.
and now he's also a married man.
No, the story we wanted to start with
Let me
is
see your
this.
hand. Let me see.
How do you not acknowledge that you're
Well,
married?
we'll get to that.
Sure, hold it
Okay.
up.
Obviously, we're getting to that. We clogged
Hold it up
people's
for the listening audience.
Ooh.
Rub it against the mic.
We'll have one cam today. So.
Scrape it.
Yeah, I can't find the other.
So
tripod
there was
for
a report that 2 officers from 13 Division here in Toronto raided
Sounds
a
bad.
dispensary Saturday night. And then and that's a marijuana dispensary, by the way.
Can you explain how those are a thing?
Well, it's funny because we're legalizing it July the 1st, which is hilarious because July the 1st is Canada Day. And that is a public holiday, which means that all of the places that would sell you weed will not be open.
There are
Also-
going to be some wacky signings.
Trudeau did say that it probably won't be July the 1st.
Oh, okay. It was going to be July the 1st.
Yeah.
It's not going to be.
They're probably not going to make it for that. So it'll be sometime during the summer.
And they're going to do like an LCBO type thing, which is if you don't live in Ontario, basically we have government-controlled liquor sales, and so it'll be government-controlled weed, and they'll sell us weed from buildings. But they won't sell us joints from the same building as the alcohol, because God forbid you wouldn't want to promote people being irresponsible.
That's crazy.
No, because now they're going to go take public money and buy other buildings and then dispense from that. That's what they're going to do, Steve.
Oh, good.
Isn't that great?
That is
You
great.
paid for that. You elected that.
Super
Throwing that out there.
happy.
Anyway,
They broke my weed.
2 officers from 13 Division raided a dispensary Saturday night because dispensaries are all over the place here in Toronto, and police are supposed to kind of leave them alone, but they don't.
I just.
Yeah, it's a weird gray area. And then, so basically
Okay.
what'll happen is these people get charged, and then once it's legalized, the charges apparently have been dropped. But early Sunday morning, they ate some of the raided edibles while still on the job. Now, when they didn't get high fast enough, the cops allegedly made the rookie mistake of consuming more edibles. Because it takes time, rookies.
That actually does. No, never mind.
The weed eventually did kick in, at which point the officers were allegedly so high that they had to call their colleagues for help. They're now suspended.
I mean, yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I know that they're supposed to be held to a higher standard, but I have a real problem with things like this leading to ending your career. That
It doesn't
bothers
sound
me a
like
little.
that's going to happen, though.
Well, they might get fired, man. You know how the public is
Well,
with police
all right.
officers.
All right, let's go through the layers of wrong
Yeah.
that we
There's
have
a lot
here.
of wrong. But I feel like, okay, you're dumb once, and you come that close, you probably learn from it.
This is a different level of dumb. This isn't I was dumb once. This was in one thing you were dumb a couple times.
Yeah, like, okay, you speed once, you're probably fine. You get caught speeding a bunch of times, they're eventually going to ding you. You get caught drinking and driving. All right, now we got next level punishment. This guy, holding up my fingers, stole next
a place-
finger evidence
Illegal evidence at that.
that
No,
is
he's
already
done that.
illegal.
And
then became intoxicated. So I guess that's 4.
with the illegal evidence, then tattled on himself.
See, I think that was the one smart thing he did.
Nope. No,
What, should he have gone about his shift?
Yeah, you call someone who's going to cover your
Oh my
ass so you
God.
don't lose your job.
Oh, so you're saying he should have done it a 5th illegal thing and called up another cop who would have been like,
No,
cool
not a
with
cop. Probably a different friend, like your wife.
It. What, and asked him to be a cop, dress up like iDubbbz, and just be like, I'm a police officer for the rest of the evening.
All I'm saying is he probably should get fired.
Should get fired?
Should definitely.
I mean, he
be
probably
fired.
should, but I feel like we're all dumb at
Adam.
least once in our life. Don't we get a life mulligan?
Do we think that's his first one?
Well, I mean, listen.
That's a confident thing to do.
First one he got caught for. First one he got caught for. So you get caught being dumb again, then you're in trouble.
If you open up the mic and say, fuck you, Toronto, consciously, just be like, hey, this will be fun.
Yeah.
And then you go live on the radio and say, fuck you, do you deserve a second chance?
Fuck you, this is Adam Wylde. Take care.
I mean, under my own reasoning, yes, but no.
See, that's not even enough like bad things. Like, no, fuck you, this is Jax on CHFI. Like, he just says all these wrong things. No, I'm thinking maybe fired.
Yeah. I think,
probably gonna get fired.
you can do one level of dumb thing where you don't get a second chance.
This is one of those things where I would be like, all right, suspend him, but don't fire him. And then it comes out that he's been fired, and I go, that's about right. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I would have done it, but yeah, fair enough. I can't even argue.
Here's the thing I'm wondering about this whole thing. At what point does that become a good idea? That you go, yeah.
Oh, the whole thing?
Yeah, well, like where you raid the dispensary and go,
We've
only got 4 hours left on our shift.
It's low-key a good idea.
Is it?
Yeah.
Jesse driving high in a police car?
for like a Seth Rogen movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, if it's super bad, okay. But
Exactly.
like, this is Toronto, and it's Toronto's pretty serious, and we're already uptight as it is. So like,
That's why I'm like,
I'm just saying, where the hell does this become a good idea? What's wrong with that question?
I think it became a good idea when he took off his hat and tried to call back up with it. I think that's when it became a good idea.
Okay.
A good idea to call for backup. The first part, when he like decided to do the thing in the first place, I think I'm going to go with before the repercussions. That's when it was a good idea. As soon as there are repercussions, that's a bad idea. Most things are good in that order.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was like, oh, hindsight 2020.
yeah. If you're like, hey, I'm going to get blackout drunk with my friends and we're going to have a great night, that's low-key a good idea.
Right.
Because you're like, we're just going to get, and then you end up getting blackout drunk and you get in a bar fight or something, then you're like, ooh, that probably wasn't a good idea.
That part where I swung on the bouncer was a poor idea.
But
Or the cop.
initially,
Sometimes that's what they get,
yeah.
as certain
The
hockey
cop.
players and certain rock stars have done.
Hockey players
Not to
in
name
certain
any,
cities.
not to name any names.
This is what we talk about when there's no hockey.
Yeah, well, I was going to segue into tell me when it became a good idea to include video replay in the All-Star game.
That was so tongue-in-cheek, though, right?
It was tongue-in-cheek, and people were like, yeah, but Wes Macaulay. All right, can I be the wet blanket? I don't care for Wes Macaulay.
Yeah.
I bet you'd like Wes Macaulay if you met him.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And
Like, he seems like an amiable guy.
I appreciate that he's a ref that shows charisma, and I appreciate that he does it during actual games for some reason. But to do it in the All-Star game, I was just like, fart, get off my television. I didn't tune in to see you. I barely tuned in to see them. Get out of here, Wes.
Who won?
Pacific, I saw in highlights.
Who won the MVP?
Boeser.
Ah,
Because I saw Friedman's tweet.
So you really didn't pay much attention.
Okay, first of all, it's the All-Star game. Second of all, a Canuck won MVP. What a failure. What a failure of a weekend.
$500,000 weekend, man.
It's a
His
good weekend.
contract bonus, and then I guess he got the bonus for winning and the bonus for getting the car.
Bonus
and
for showing up.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not a bad weekend.
I would say that's a good time.
Yeah.
And you get to spend that in the delightful city of Tampa. You don't have to spend all the money there.
Exactly.
But, I mean, I'm sure they would appreciate that.
I shouldn't dump on the whole weekend. There was a better reason for why we didn't watch the skills competition or the game.
Oh, I'm getting married. Yeah, I got married.
Yeah, Adam got married.
Yeah.
So.
We'll talk about that later.
Oh,
Do you want me to read off the Boeser money weekend?
Yeah.
So it was 212.5.
As all rookie bonuses are.
Yeah.
Because that's
For,
the number they settled on. You know what it'll do? 212.5.
Go look at William Nylander's salary.
212.5 plus 895.
$212.5K
Yeah.
for the All-Star Game invite. 212.5K for the All-Star Game MVP. 91K for winning the game. Like everybody on the team splits 91. He gets 25K for winning the accuracy on Saturday. And he gets 10K because all All-Star players get 10K. And he got a new car. And he adopted a new dog.
Did he?
Yes.
Did you adopt
Same
one of the
weekend.
puppies?
He adopted one of the puppies.
Oh,
Isn't that cute? Isn't that a
pretty
great
cool.
weekend?
Man, I know he's 20, but like
That's a lot of responsibility for being 20.
pack that in. That's your best weekend.
Ever.
How do you top that?
Winning a cup?
You have to. And it has to be on the weekend.
Oh, that is a good point.
If you do it on a Wednesday,
No.
you can't be like the following Wednesday's the best. You're wrong.
Unless you've spent the
Cheating.
whole week leading up to
Which
that
it would
partying
probably.
with the Stanley Cup.
No.
No, man, I think that beats it.
This was no.
No. It's Jesse.
I don't know.
Would you take AllStar Weekend and Puppy, or would you
Uh-huh.
take several days of partying like TFC did after they won, and Saturday, Sunday going nuts in your home city?
See, you can party any weekend.
Yeah, but no, you can't Stanley Cup party. That is a different kind of party.
No, but if say you win it on a Wednesday, the Stanley Cup parties is the Wednesday night, Thursday, and Friday. Kind of, you're extending the party.
And then the weekend comes and they probably just sleep all day.
Saturday, you're sleeping. That's 3 days of partying with the cup.
It's a lot. It sounds like a lot.
Yeah,
That's too much for me
He
these
probably
days.
packs it in. The second it's Saturday, he goes, boys, I'm going home.
exactly. So
And besides, it's not like this is ever going to top my All-Star weekend.
exactly,
I'm going to bed.
best weekend of his life.
He lived his best life.
Besser life. Be Besser if you win the cup. I'm just saying.
No. I don't think that'd be Besser at all.
I think it's nice for him. It's nice that a Vancouver Canuck got the national spotlight. They don't get that a lot these days, and I know that they're sure upset about us not talking about Brock Boeser. And you know what? He's had an incredible rookie season. And
Has he? I haven't seen. I haven't been paying attention.
what happened to Clayton Keller though?
Oh, he's on the Coyotes.
Like
All right, open and shut case.
What do you mean? What happened?
Well,
to
The
him?
weed cop could have solved
all
that one.
anybody could talk about was Clayton Keller.
Because he was the only. I think.
And I mean, the guy's got 36 points in 50 games. It's not bad.
Oh. But how many goals is he at?
14. He scored most of them in the first
I
few
was
games
about
of the
to
season.
say, wow, so he's slowed right down.
Yes. Besser's got 24 already in 46
Wait, so you
games.
want us to talk more about Clayton Keller?
No, I'm just wondering what happened to him. Like, that's all anybody could talk about. And Vancouver Canucks fans are going, but Besser's doing great too. And people were like, yeah, Clayton Keller. And then
Who was doing this?
it was like at the beginning of the season because he
Yeah.
went on that ridiculous streak,
okay.
right? And
I'm
Boeser was
confused.
doing great, but it was always well, Clayton Keller's doing great. And then all of a sudden, the spotlight's gone. Now the Oilers are bad. And now the Hawks are bad.
Yeah.
And now there's other stories to talk about
Yeah,
other
and
than
Boeser
Brock
got a
Boeser.
weekend.
He
I
finally
feel
got his
like-
weekend.
Like the rookie race is often like this. It's not like last year where it was Matthews and Line literally out of the gate
Yep.
for the entire time. Who was the other person nominated for the Calder? I don't even remember.
Werenski.
Oh, well, yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, no one actually thought he was going to win.
No.
Right? This one, you have a hot 2 weeks to start the season, and everyone's like, don't know how
Calder.
you're going to how are you going to catch Clayton Keller? Can't do it.
Coyotes.
And then Boeser comes. How are you going to catch Brock Boeser? And then Matt Barzal comes. How are you going to catch Matt Barzal?
It's a much more even race this year for sure.
Your clear-cut winner, Charlie McAvoy. Obviously. Or Kasperi Kapanen.
I don't think so. But he was
You're
recalled
right,
today.
Andreas Johnson.
He was recalled today.
He hasn't been recalled. But.
So it was nice that Brian Boyle got to play in front of his formerly home fans. But beyond
That
that,
was cool.
Kid Rock. I guess the reason Kid Rock played, and everybody pointed this out.
Oh,
is
you're actually trying to have a conversation.
yeah,
about
I'm
the
actually trying to
All-Star
bring this
weekend?
up.
Oh my god.
Do you want me to just move on?
No, keep going.
Well, I mean, I'm getting to the best part, which was literally the Gary Bettman interview. That was the best part of the entire weekend. But
Because my follow-up question was going to be, Jesse, when did you get out of bed?
What do you mean? Yesterday?
Yeah, technically.
Fairly early. Like around 11.
Okay, mine was a little after 12.
Okay. Yeah, because we had to go drop off the suits at.
That is...
Which is.
Why do they make you do that?
all right, do you want to just get into this then?
That is the most evil
What's
thing.
more interesting right now? The wedding talk or the All-Star game?
You know how many people just screamed wedding talk?
Okay, all right.
I can honestly say I don't give a shit about All-Star Weekend because
No.
it's very boring.
I've never
to see.
cared about All-Star Weekend. I'm just pretending to care.
We'll just delay what you had, and we'll get to it. But I think we need to talk about the extreme injustice
It is really stupid.
of Moores and other establishments
Yep.
making you return your suit the day after the thing that you rented it for, almost certainly a wedding or prom. It's almost always a thing where you don't want to go out the next day.
Right.
On a Sunday.
Yep.
I think that's cruel.
I remember getting having my friend Zach, who was in our wedding party. He got married in Halifax, obviously, and I had to pick out I had to go get the suit there. I had it delivered at Moore's in Halifax, which was great. But then I chose to fly out early in the morning. So the Halifax airport is in the middle of a field in the next province. Like, it is so far away from the actual city.
A guy in rain boots standing there with a candle.
Yeah. You just like it's insane. It's so far out of the city. It's like a 25-minute drive. So I'm like, oh God, there's no Moore's open and I got to get on the road. So I had to haul that stupid suit all the way back to Toronto, and I'm hungover. And then, because you get on a little plane that's like the pack of gum planes, like for 2.5 hours.
Terrifying.
And then you land, and then I'm like, hold on, even though I'm hungover and feeling terrible, I must stop at Moore's so they don't charge me another $25 for this stupid suit. So that's what we did. And I'm like sweaty and gross walking into the Moore's, like, here, take it. 3:00 in the afternoon.
Okay, I have a great business plan, all right?
Yeah.
So you know how like Home Depot, most Home Depots have a restaurant in them?
Yeah.
Like it used to be Harvey's in Canada, and now it's Subway, I think. Yeah, Moore's should definitely have like a McDonald's or something.
That's a great idea.
Or just on Sundays even.
Or you could just pay an extra $10.
Have a hot dog stand outside of it, like Canadian Tire does for some weird reason.
They'll charge you $25, but I would be more than willing to pay $10 extra just to extend it one more day.
They should just tack it on at the beginning anyways and be like, hey, everybody, you get 2 days afterwards, and just add it on to the beginning price of the rental.
Yeah,
and nobody would ever notice, and nobody would ever care.
Nobody's going to ask because nobody's going to be like, sorry, Moores, this tux is too much, and I am in a wedding party, and I'm $10.
Well, Jesse, though, I mean, think of the rush of customers Moores must get on a Monday. Think of the rush of people who are like, I need a $200 cardigan today.
Oh, it's just packed in there every Monday.
By the way, Moores is a suit company for all of our American listeners.
Yeah.
Panicked 17-year-olds running in there needing a button extender for prom.
No, it happens all the time.
The time.
They're just packed on Mondays.
Let us return the suits on Monday. That's all I'm asking.
You know what people always say? Moore's on a Monday is like Grace O'Malley's on a Thursday.
Cougar night?
No.
Sorry.
You didn't go to Gracie's every Thursday in Ryerson?
No.
That was the drink.
I couldn't afford that.
Oh, well, never mind. My joke
be
fell
at
on.
least
I was
Cheers.
drinking basically coolant from the local kick and stabs in Scarborough.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah, it is a little strange. But you know what? They do a great job. That's the problem, is they do a great job. Everybody uses them because they do such a great job, and they make it so easy, except for that one thing. And they can change that one thing.
All I'm asking for from Moore's is more time.
Moore's time, right?
It's their name.
Do you know the guy?
It's clever.
More?
Dom. We're on a first name basis. Dom.
Okay.
It's a good guy.
Adam knows people. I didn't know
Fourth
if he
line
knew
center
the
of the
guy.
Leafs, suit company owner.
I didn't say
Amazing.
that. Just club that over the head.
Yeah, well, I was explaining the joke. Okay.
You see, here's why that's funny.
The best part about AllStar Weekend was this. It was Ron MacLean, it was Gary Bettman, and it was Gary Bettman being the most Gary Bettman he can be, and Ron MacLean being the most Ron MacLean he can be. And I it's funny. I would encourage you to listen to our episode with Ron because we asked him specifically about talking to Gary Bettman in it. And so I took what he said and applied it to this interview, which made it significantly less frustrating. And to paraphrase, he said, remember, when you were speaking to Gary Bettman, you're speaking to a lawyer. It's not necessarily like, you can't look at it like it's just a guy like your friend. He's a lawyer, and he's representing the interests of his clients.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of people go, well, this is just proof that Bettman and MacLean have zero chemistry.
What?
And I'm like, that's not a host and co-host. That is a host and a guest.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is an interviewer and a subject.
Yeah.
There doesn't need to be chemistry.
I thought they were fine together. I think it's just Ron asked the question that everybody's too afraid to ask. And one of the things was, Gary said, I think the problem is that the city of Calgary expects the Flames to pay for their arena completely. And Ron said, and why don't they?
Yeah.
To which Gary deferred and went into, well, they had two different proposals that were really cutting edge, and they were going to, because I guess the southwest of Calgary needs development. He goes into the southwest development proposal, and then Calgary didn't want it southeast, and he's like, well, they're not going to get the Olympics now because they won't have a hockey arena.
Even though the Olympics just approved of the Saddle Dome, they said it was fine.
Oh, they'll need a new arena for that. And then Ron MacLean asked, well, Gary, why don't you just, the arena's there. Madison Square Garden continues to be upgraded every, 10, 15 years. Why don't you do? Well, that cost them $1 billion. Well, that's fucking New York, right? I mean, that's
Gary,
New York.
why don't you frig off from politics like you said you were going to? How about that?
And then he denied that they used Seattle as a threat to move the team.
Which was categorically false.
That's just a lie.
Right, as they did with Edmonton.
On national television.
It worked in
You're
Edmonton.
just lying,
And he
though.
said, oh, they'd take the Edmonton deal in a heartbeat. And Ron's like, but they don't need the Edmonton deal. Calgary does not need the Edmonton deal.
Yes.
Edmonton needed the Edmonton deal.
This is just proof that rich people think you're stupid. Well, one city is in Alberta and the other city's in Alberta, so they're like the same. Ask any, what is it, Caligonian? Calgarian.
Caligonian.
Can it be Caligonian now?
Ask any Caligonian or Edmontaxian. And they will tell you they're the exact same.
You can be a Torontarian.
Torontite.
Torontite.
Torontite is what we're going with.
Torontite. And Vancouveronian. I'm just trying to, I just fucked it up.
Okay.
But
Vancouver.
listen, there
Nope.
you go. Nope, I'll take it. We'll take it.
Okay.
We're settling for tin here. No gold, silver, bronze. Look, they're not the same, Gary. That's what I'm saying.
Is that what you're saying,
Betsy.
Brooksy? Is
Yeah.
that what I'm saying, Betsy?
I don't know. I didn't want to call
I like
it Brooksy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But no, I mean, it's just, let's just call it what it is. It's propaganda. And that's his thing. That's fine. I mean, he's doing good by his employers, which are the owners who don't want to pay for things.
What makes me laugh is that in the most fiscally conservative province in the country, they call it Canada's Texas. I
should
don't
call it Canada's America.
it really,
It's a lot. Well, it's a lot more like America than,
and it's funny they would say the same about Torontonians.
which that's false though.
Well, they would say it's
Like
false
just
too.
because there's like people here, like that doesn't make it the States.
Listen,
It's a little different.
I mean, they're very conservative. There are some very American values there, or North American values, I guess I should say. In Calgary, there are. It's very much the place where low taxes, freedom, cowboys,
Apple pie, bald eagles, the president,
The point
Super
is,
Bowl.
The point is,
Yes.
I don't know how in the most conservative province and the most conservative base, Stephen Harper's riding. My grandfather lived in Stephen Harper's riding. Leader of the Canadian Conservative Party lived in his riding.
We're not talking about the hockey prospect. We're talking about the former prime minister. For
My
our
point
listeners
is,
from like Chicago or something.
That is conservative Canada. That's where it all stems out from. How do you expect that city to go, yeah, we're going to cough up $250, $300, $400 million for a new arena when there's a billionaire that owns it?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've had this conversation before. I'm more bothered by the fact that like Gary Bettman just got on and said Gary Bettman things.
Are you bothered by that?
I just don't.
See, it bothers me when it's a surprise. That wasn't a surprise.
It bothers me when he just gets on there, says the same things, and when he doesn't say the same things, says lies, like the Edmonton thing.
Or the Seattle thing.
And I'm watching this going, okay, this is my employer, but why are we speaking to this man? What,
'Cause
like
he-
this, he doesn't need to be spoken
He
to.
runs the thing, so he needs
Oh,
to be.
so
We kind of have
what?
we had a big 12-year deal in place with the thing.
He's gonna talk to the guy who runs it.
Just fart. But then they ask him about review.
He had a great take on that.
Good take.
Except here's the problem with
Good take.
Gary's take, which, and I'm paraphrasing again. Mr. Bettman's take was this. It was put in place to be a guideline. Like if there was an egregious error.
Right.
But the problem is, and I was watching Tim and Sid this afternoon because I have the afternoon off, or I had the afternoon off today. And I
And
think
that
I
is
thought
the only reason.
Tim, well, it's because I'm usually on the air when they are.
I know.
But Tim was on saying, but of course they're going to take it to the nth degree.
Yeah.
It's in the rules. There's millions of dollars on the line here. They're not just going to go, oh, I mean, it's close, but we'll just let it go. He's absolutely right about that. Get in there, clarify it in the rules. If you expected some sort of gray area to work out in the we're not going to be obnoxious about this, then you're wrong. You know that.
But there's no rule. How do you succinctly write, come on? Because that's what the rule is. That's the suggestion.
You can't.
Is the Matthews goal against Colorado was goaltender interference.
You can't leave it to that.
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying.
Well, then
how do you write it?
You have to write it. You find a way.
Yeah.
You're paid Gary Bettman makes $8 million a year. Find a way. And I'm sure he's surrounded by people that make millions of dollars as well. Find a way. You have law degrees. Find a way.
We're not the ones creating the rule book.
Yeah.
They have people to nail it down to the point where you need to write it so you can get it right.
Extrapolate
and they know
on,
how to
come
do
on.
that. Yeah. They know how to do that. And they haven't done it yet, which is ridiculous. And it sounds like they're finally going to fix it because the rule is crazy at this point.
Ray Ferraro had a good take that I can't remember if I ever touched on.
The rule is terrible.
This rule is terrible. So the Colorado goal was disallowed. The Matthews goal against Colorado was disallowed. Then the following night, or 2 nights later, the next game, the Leafs are playing the Blackhawks. Artem Anisimov falls on Frederik Andersen, as the puck is going in. And that goal counts. Now, what Ferraro tweeted, as we're all freaking out about the fact that goal counted, is they should have both counted. As I look at it, I go, you're probably right. It wasn't the most egregious thing. Again, there's that word. But it was, the issue is consistency. Mm-hmm. And having one rule to rule them all would kind of make things a lot easier, right? Mm-hmm. But just logically, you look at the Matthews goal from 2 nights before, and then this one. Surely neither of them count. But apparently it did.
Well, I
don't even think at this point it's an issue of whether any of should the McDavid goal have counted. I don't think it's an issue of whether they should have counted. It's just a matter of, hey, what's the rule? And let's all know what the rule is and then determine that and then go back and be like, hey, what should these goals counted? Because right now we don't know what the rule is, so we can't really make a determination if these goals should have counted. Yeah. Just make a clear rule. That's all I want.
I think,
Give me a challenge.
Make the clear rule. Well, then or don't have the rule.
Let everybody do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, because they know this is bad for pacing, and people are like, well, doesn't it matter that you get the call right? I'm sorry. The thing that matters most is the entertainment value, kids. That's how you sell to advertisers. That's how you keep people interested. That's how you attract new fans. If you want to tell me that getting the rule right like that is the way to go, goodbye, NHL. It will just slowly erode away.
That's why I felt like I was being a grumpy old man when Wes Macaulay came on the screen at the All-Star game. And I just didn't want to see him. Because I think they were trying to tongue-in-cheek poke fun at themselves after a rough week. But part of me was like, not funny. Fix your sport. It's not... Oh, it's funny that the sport is broken and no one understands the rules?
That 2 of its biggest
Get
young
off
stars...
my screen and fix it!
Yeah.
2 of its biggest young stars were robbed of goals? It's not...
And openly mocking league
these weren't just anybody. This was Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I can't remember who it was. Oh, I think it was Down Goes Brown.
Okay.
Said the next big goal that scored, or whatever, doesn't matter by who, when they score, they shouldn't celebrate. They should just themselves skate to the timekeeper's box and start whispering to them like they're trying to ask to go upstairs to review the goal. That's the next evolution.
And that's how you get fined, ladies and gentlemen.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, we'll celebrate
How
now.
is that? How do you get fined?
That's how you Terrell Owens pull out a pen out of your pocket and sign a football and you get fined.
So what's the Matthews point?
That's it.
That's like a Jagr salute. I hope he keeps doing it.
Yeah, I
hope he keeps doing it.
What about McDavid yipping at the ref? Go look.
I'm shocked he wasn't fined for that.
I'm so glad he wasn't.
You shouldn't be openly mocking an official.
By the way, ballsy, because they hadn't won the shootout yet.
Oh, yeah.
He
Talbot would have to go to the other end, yeah.
How much bigger of a story would that have been if they lost?
Oh, the whole game would have been a crazy story.
You're right. Yeah. I didn't even think of that. The whole context of everything changes.
Yeah, because they should have won in regulation, to be fair, with the tap, because that was at the end of reg, right?
I doubt this will be a factor, but if the Oilers go on some crazy run to try to make the playoffs,
which I really hope they do, because that would be a really fun story.
It would be pretty fun.
No, Darlene.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
They missed by 1 point and get Darlene.
That would be the best case scenario for them, I think.
But they're missing a very possibly valuable regulation win. It's true.
That is true. That's a good point. Yep.
They didn't get as big of a win as they should have. Here's me.
They got a
writing the
half-step
Leafs
win.
post-cup win article.
Half-step win versus a full-step win.
A little bit.
So, yeah, we're all tired of that shit. I think we're ready for it to be done.
What a great way of putting it, Adam.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Nobody likes it. I think every team's been burned by at least once, maybe except for the Vegas Golden Knights, who have a horseshoe lodged directly between their two cheeks.
Can we just talk about how Gerard Gallant won again?
Yeah.
He won in the All-Star game, for crying out loud.
He's having a year.
He's having a year.
Boeser had a weekend. He's having a year.
And Vegas flu is definitely a thing.
Oh, yeah?
There's no question.
Their record is absurd.
Yeah.
They've lost 4 games at home.
No, but you brought it up earlier that you think it's a thing, and I think the record is it's gone on for this long that it has to be something happening with teams going into the city and maybe partying too hard, or maybe just not being used to the new place and just something in their heads and not being able to play in that arena.
Do we ever get a chance to talk about the John Tortorella weird quote?
Where he told his team to go out and party?
Yeah.
No,
I like my team to play a little guilty.
And then they had to send one of the players home.
Brandon Dubinsky.
Yeah. And that's what I thought. I was like, that is odd timing because the next day, or no, 2 days later, Dubinsky was sent home. And has to deal with a personal matter, and I have no idea what that is.
Well,
but
the personal matter was the eye injury that he's trying to come back from, but I don't think anybody believes that he's dealing with the eye injury still.
you don't have to go home to do that. You can
Yeah.
rehab an eye injury on
But
the road.
they said he's going to visit doctors when he goes home for the eye injury. That he's supposed to come back. He was supposed to play that Thursday because he had recovered from the eye injury, and then the Tuesday they send him home because they're like, it's still happening. Is that?
His
and then we
eye
haven't,
is still injured.
and
They
then we
say-
haven't heard anything since.
Now, they say the personal issue is potentially career-threatening, but they don't say it's the eye. That's what's interesting is they're like, well, he needs to look after his eye, and there's a personal issue that's potentially
Well, is that
career-threatening.
the Athletic article?
This one is CBC Sports that I'm looking
Okay.
at
Like
right
that
now.
is a
Because
really concerning headline.
they followed up on the initial reports.
What did they say?
Aaron Port
That's when they said about the eye injury.
was
He's
the
going
eye
to see
injury?
doctors, and then they never gave another statement.
Okay, so now I don't want to suggest that he got into trouble in Vegas. But
I will.
But it
I'll say
It sure-
Boy, is this what that looks like?
sure smells like it, doesn't it?
Yep.
And here's the other question. On eye injuries can be potentially career-threatening. I do not. And listen, if it turns out that that's all it is, fine. That's all it is. And he needed to go home to Columbus, the eye specialist capital of the world, to get it sorted out. Now, maybe
When
there's something
I'm in
about
bed-
Columbus I don't know. We all have 20/20 vision here.
When I'm in bed and I smell bacon, you know what I expect to find downstairs? Bacon. This smells like something.
Does it smells like bacon for you?
A little bit of bacon.
Well, so here's the thing. I was listening to 31 Thoughts podcast, and Elliot
I was
Friedman.
listening to 31 Thoughts.
Yeah,
That's
isn't that
a
cool?
thing we couldn't say like a month ago.
I know, right? And it's great.
It's good.
They were talking about Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick were talking about the heydays of going out and partying, and they tell this story about
The 80s?
1980. Daryl Sittler and some of the guys on the Leafs. I guess it's Punch Imlach's second go around with the Leafs, and he's an old school guy. You know, oh, you broke your foot, put it in some ice. Get back here tomorrow. And they all hated him, of course, because generational divide. The guy's like a military boot camp guy. And I guess after practice, they all went out for a liquid lunch on like a Wednesday. And they set up Punch Imlach's face at a dartboard and started firing darts at it. And they invited a Toronto Star reporter to just come and hang out with them.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
And he wrote a story about it, unnamed players or whatever. But what's funny about that is that would never happen today. You could never. But can these guys? I always wondered, and they talk about this, and there are very few guys who can actually first off, with all the cameras that are out, pictures are being taken. Just the competition level, how guys have to take care of their bodies now. It's become like, do you even drink during the season? Like,
The answer is an emphatic yes.
Yeah.
Like, this is the other thing. Yeah, the competition is so strict, but professional athletes, the stories I hear, the stuff I've seen, like, I have no idea how they do it. They bounce back.
they are freaks. Like, the
They're
thing
all
is,
19 forever.
yeah.
I think their bodies are just at a different level.
Genetically, from what I've been told,
gotta
and
be.
what they've researched is like there are bodies that are genetically predisposed to be able to handle this stuff. That's just the end of the story.
They're all related.
And just when you're
player.
when you're exercising rigorously every day for 20, 15 years straight, your body learns to adapt to things. And I think you can handle your alcohol at that point.
Yeah.
If you go out partying, you want to play the next day.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe.
So who knows if Dubinski got in a little trouble in Vegas because he rejoined the team that weekend.
How do they even do it secretly?
So I wonder. Well, I would guess in your hotel room.
I think money can buy you secrecy at some points.
Yeah. Well, there are certain clubs you get into where.
Well, you can't go out and have a good time, is what I'm saying.
You can. You can. There are clubs you can.
Publicly.
Publicly, there is. There are spots you can go.
It's difficult.
In this city, there's tons of them.
For example,
That's a good point.
I've been to them. You can go.
Leave out many details of your bachelor party and say that, well, we saw 2 people.
Didn't we say it already?
No, we didn't name names. Remember we talked about the LFR, but we never named names.
But
Yeah,
they
it was
also
an NHL
didn't
player
do
like
anything.
right there.
2 of them.
Two of them.
Two.
Yeah.
And they were literally just sitting there, texting and nursing one drink, and with a security guard standing there.
And people were
So they
coming
can't
up.
even talk to anybody because. Yeah.
And I'm sure that wasn't their whole night.
Yeah.
I mean, it sure seemed like it.
Oh, Steve, that was only the part we saw. That's like saying, well, that looks like the entire iceberg.
Adam,
Well, see, you
Said the captain of the
Adam,
Titanic.
you left. Jesse and I shut the place down.
Adam, I have a
really?
question for you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, we saw the place in the light.
Oh,
I have a question for you.
see?
It's about a good friend of ours.
Uh-huh.
I believe his initials are SG.
Ah,
I was just wondering. Do you think-
SDG?
SDG,
Yeah,
if you
okay.
put the brackets around the D.
Right.
I was just
My
wondering.
middle name is Doll. Sorry.
Do you think our good friend S bracket or quotation DG is naive?
Wow.
I mean, he's a tad, I would say innocent. He's
Oh,
innocent.
that's a much better word.
He's an
I was
innocent
very
little boy, I
defensive.
think.
Good. I'm not dumb. I'm just precious. Thanks.
I used the incorrect word.
I'm just
naive.
cute.
Yeah.
Naive is incorrect. Innocent.
Innocent. Of course. So,
Someone texted me recently, don't take this the wrong way. You're cute. They weren't talking about my features. They were talking about my personality.
well, I don't see why
And I
that's such a
did
bad
take it the
thing.
wrong way a little bit.
That's
Why?
not a bad thing at all.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, I told my wife, and she
Anyway.
went, no. A little bit like Hermione.
Anyway, I wondered if John Tortorella would be changing his tune a wee bit after saying, I want my players to play guilty, or if he'll just never say that in public again because he just sent a leader home.
Yeah, the sequence
The
of
timing.
events was poor.
The timing sucked. And it's really not John's fault. He was just being honest. But, being honest these days is one of the... Boy, it'll bite you.
A little bit.
Did you guys see the photos from McDavid's birthday party?
No.
I saw the
TMZ
Photoshop
photos?
ones you did.
No.
No,
I
there were
saw,
TMZ
I
ones?
saw the Photoshop where they took the couple from the airport.
Jesse
was,
did that.
That was this guy
Oh, you
sitting
did
here.
that?
Yeah. That
It was on Tim and Sid. He did
very
that.
good.
That
Very
was,
good.
that was
I didn't
me.
know that
Thank
was you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
No,
Well, I
no.
should do better branding,
What did the... Yes, you should.
No, I should just have my naive, gullible child brain just forgets things.
No, well, the photos were they were on TMZ because they were in a club and there was a bunch of girls and there was a bunch of bottle service and it was McDavid partying in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in Vegas is sold to publications.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it happens.
It does. It has to. Now, Jacob Trouba out 6 to 8 weeks with an ankle injury. Mark Scheifele's already out.
Oh, I
this is
missed
going to
that
take them.
one.
This is going to take them right past the trade deadline. 6 weeks from now is past the trade deadline. 6 to 8 weeks he's out. You're Winnipeg.
Wow.
If you're Winnipeg, you gotta hold the fort, right? You gotta hold the line a little bit.
And by the way, the fort is leading the Central.
Yeah, but if they played 500 hockey for a 6-week stretch, and then you get Scheifele and Trouba back, that's not the worst thing in the world, right? You don't need to. I mean, Cheveldayoff would rather.
Can you bring up the standings?
The next time Cheveldayoff makes a trade, Christ will have come back. I mean, like he's just one of those. He's just one of those guys. Like he takes forever. But there are
He's so going to make a trade by the time this is uploaded.
people. Yeah, of course. People are saying this is the time to make a trade. I got to look at it and think, no, let your guys be your guys, and then you get Scheifele and Trouba back.
Well, and also you have Dustin Bufflin as well.
Yeah,
I think
and
he's
Tyler
battling
Myers.
injuries this season. Yeah, so like that is bad. but not cataclysmic.
No.
It's a little bit like when Zaitsev got knocked out of the lineup.
Right.
But
Did you know that?
just because that was up on the screen. Bad, but not cataclysmic.
Did you know that Winnipeg is 17-3-1 at home?
And most of their next few
The
games.
Winnipeg flu.
That's crazy.
one of the
That's
ne-
almost as good as Vegas.
I think their next 10 of their next 20 or 10 of their next 20. 10 of their next something are at home. Like they're playing like a big long home stretch now too, which is super good. 10 of their next 20, that'd be half.
I was about to say, wow.
That's great. Nah,
They're playing an average number of,
They are playing
Yeah,
an
what would
average
you like to
number of
know
games
about
at
the,
home.
standings?
Well, I want to know what the Central looks like.
The Central,
Yes.
it runs down Winnipeg, Nashville, then St. Louis, which is 66, 65, and 63 points.
Wow. So, Adam, here's how completely different the Central is from the Atlantic. If Winnipeg goes 500 for the next stretch, they are boned.
Why do you say that?
So they have 66 points. They're in first. Nashville is right behind them with 65, and Nashville has 3 games in hand. And St. Louis, who has played one more game, is 3 points behind with 63. The 2 wild card teams, Dallas and Colorado, both Central Division teams, 60 points and 57. So Dallas is 6 points behind. Colorado, with 2 games in hand, is 9 points behind. But
Okay.
they're also 8-2-0 in their last 10 and had previously won 10 straight before losing 2 straight because hockey is a dumb sport. And then there's Minnesota, who is actually tied with Colorado. They've just played one more game, and they're also a Central Division team. And this is weird that I'm going to say this, but and then there's the Blackhawks, who are kind of out of it and gonna make it somehow.
I'm sure they'll figure out a way. They are.
I'm sure
Blackhawks.
it's going to help them make it.
Jeff Glass will stand on his head for the next 4
Jeff
weeks.
Glass has looked good.
He's looked decent.
He's looked decent.
Mr. Glass.
Mr. Glass,
yeah,
the
you know,
glass wall.
Yeah, the glass wall. It's not good.
Bulletproof glass.
Glass wall.
Plexiglass.
Yeah. Sure. More like, all right. So,
No, let's
but-
stick with the glass wall.
yeah, no, so if they,
Stained glass.
Don't throw pucks at it.
he's really good at making the first save, but that's it. Because he's broken after that. He's shattered.
I think it would go right through.
Yo,
Steve.
if
You
he
think it would go
I
right
think-
through? No.
imagine when the article comes out when Chicago doesn't make the playoffs and be like, glass playoff hopes shattered. It's just a picture of him.
Adam's very proud of that
So
one.
cruel.
It would be amazing.
I want to know how it's
Not
not,
for him,
Jonathan Taves' fault at all.
Oh, it will never be Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane's fault.
No, I'm just being a jerk. Joel Quenneville should be fired, and Taves' leadership called into question.
Apparently, that's what they're talking about.
I know.
Joel Quenneville is going to get so much money if he gets fired. That could be the best thing that
He's-
ever happened to Joel
He's
Quenneville.
not getting
They would have to
fired.
miss 3 straight years for him to be fired. At least.
If Joel Quenneville does get fired, first off, who do they replace him with? Second, because there's nobody else out there.
Jesus.
Like, there's not some Jesus is coming back.
I only said that because you made that terrible
But also-
reference earlier.
But also, who fires their coach to pick up Joel Quenneville? Because that's what would happen.
Oh, immediately.
Everyone.
Who do you think it is?
Mike Babcock.
And you know what would be super awkward is because inevitably it will leak who was interested, right? So the coach will probably know. So who's the coach that you fire?
Alain Vigneault.
You think so?
Out in New York, bring in Joel Quenneville. Let it ride.
Oof.
That'll be fun.
You know, if I'm Joel Quenneville, I'm not sure New York's the job I want. They're heading for a rebuild here in the next couple of years, I
It's
think.
just not going to happen. It's
Yeah.
not even worth talking. The point I was originally trying to make is no, Winnipeg still needs to be good.
Yeah.
They
But I still think they can be.
they can drop a couple spots. Like at this point, they have no idea who they're playing in the first round.
But Connor Hellebuck's got to be amazing.
He should be nominated for the Vezina. At least the way things are playing out right now.
Remember when their starting goaltender was Steve Mason?
Yeah. And the Leafs lit him up for 7 goals.
And then Calgary
in
in
the first game.
6, I think, the next game?
It was bad.
It was bad. It was a bad start.
It's funny.
Who will catch Clayton Keller, though?
No one.
It's that first 15 games. It's that, 15 games in, things are crazy. And then it starts to settle out. You know what I mean?
Kapanen.
Kapanen.
still stick
Yarmer
by my
Jagr is out in
Kapanen.
Calgary. He's officially, they've basically, they put him on waivers. He was obviously unclaimed. Looks like he's going to play out the rest of his year in Europe. It's kind of the end.
Yeah.
But people, and I saw some tweets, people
How many
saying,
players have ever been assigned to the team they own?
That's
He part
funny.
owns Kladno.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Does he really?
I think so, yeah. You might want to look that up.
That's funny.
People
yeah.
said they wish that he had gone out better, but I kind of look at it kind of like he went out like a warrior. Like he went out, he tried and he tried and he tried and he just wasn't good enough anymore.
Yeah.
And to me, there's something romantic about that.
Absolutely.
Like-
Not everyone can be Ray Bourque. You know?
And Ray Bourque could have kept playing though. That's the thing.
And also, Ray Bourque didn't have his cup. Jagr got his before many of you were born.
Yeah.
Twice. And, I mean, this was how he was always going to go out. Like, this isn't a tragedy.
Right.
This was how it was always going to happen. His age was going to show. His body was going to fail him. He was going to play until nobody wanted him anymore. He was a free agent. Couldn't get a team to sign him. Got one to sign him. Went through waivers. No one claimed him. He's done. This is the last bit Jagr had to give in the NHL. Unless it's not.
I don't think you believe that.
I don't know if
Well,
I do.
There was a time where we looked at Jagr and his little KHL stint and we went, imagine what could have happened if he had just stuck around. And then he came back and played like another 10 years. So, I don't know. I tweeted today, like, if history has taught me anything, he's going to take a 3-year hiatus and come back and play for another 10.
I could definitely see him play next year in an on an NHL team.
Oh man, I don't know. It's not. He's
No?
not fast enough. That's the problem. It's the foot speed
It's a copycat league, and most teams are going young and cheap.
and Jersey.
Old
They're
and
going New
cheap
Jersey.
is common. Like, look at like the Mike Camilleri for UC Jokinen trade. I kind of look at those are guys in the summer. You sign in like August, September, something like that. You sign them for like $1 million, maybe less. Like you can
And
go out.
you can let him go if it doesn't work out.
It's
You
not the
fight for a
90s
spot.
anymore. You can go out and get another Jagr. There's lots of Jagrs now. It didn't used to be that way.
Yeah, interesting. I kind of liked it though. I kind of liked that he just went until he couldn't go.
Yep, 100%. This is how he was always going to go out. It's appropriate. It's appropriate. You know, not everyone has to go out. I don't know. Like I think of a Nicklas Lidstrom as like a less extreme example of Ray Bourque. Lidstrom could have kept playing. Most NHL greats, like most guys who play over 1,000 NHL games, could keep going beyond.
What they did.
Yes, but they don't on account of they got like enough money and they're happy with what they've achieved.
And they've spent the last 30 years of their life playing hockey every
and they
day.
want to hang out with their family, you know? Whereas Jagr is just like, no, I'm still having fun and like making money and I have no wife or kids. So, did you see all those pictures last year? Yeah, I'm having a good time. So I'm going to keep doing this.
What was that story again? It was a...
I believe it was the girlfriend of the captain of the Czech,
Junior National?
junior team, and him.
Hooked up?
They studied. They did their homework
Did they
together.
do the
So
sex?
she was in a relationship with the dude who was the captain of the Czech junior team.
Yeah.
And she ended up with Jagr.
Imagine
And I don't
your
think he
childhood
knew.
idol stealing your
Bangs your
girlfriend.
girlfriend.
I should steal him, but sure. No, and then the pictures got out. There were
Didn't she threaten him?
supposedly it was somebody else.
Oh, and he said, go ahead and release them. I don't care.
Yeah, because like I don't
Doesn't-
know.
What
Doesn't
does he have
affect
to
him.
lose?
What, are you
Yeah.
going to blackmail a single guy? Oh, no. You know who's going to find out? Like, no, I think the joke we went with at the time is like, oh, he's going to get like some sort of terrible elbow injury from all the high fives like, around the locker room of
One of
whatever
the-
team he was with last year. Florida?
One of the most disappointing whimpers to the end of their career recently was when when Brodeur was just
St. Louis.
when he went over to St. Louis. I was just like, come on, dude, just retire.
That
That's
one-
different
Don't
because he
go
went
and
to St.
play
Louis.
That one-
4 games there, whatever it was.
And now
and
he's
retire.
employed by the front office. And I think
Yeah.
that's the whole reason they got him was just because they wanted him in the front office anyway.
I gotta do an update to. I feel like I was writing something. It was years ago. I think it was like when I just started with Sportsnet. The all-time leaders in like points and games played and like wins for goalies among players who stayed with one team their entire career. Because when you switch teams like Brodeur did at the end of the year, or at the end of his career, you lose the record.
Yeah.
So he had the record. And
easily.
the second you go to another team, you lose it. I think I might be wrong here. I think the current leader for goalies who have played with one team their entire career, the career wins leader for goalies who have spent their entire career with one team, I think is Henrik Lundqvist.
Huh.
And like top 5 is Marc-Andre Fleury. Well, no, he lost it. He's done.
Yeah,
because he's on Vegas now. So times have changed. Yep. And Steve Yzerman, I think, is the all-time points leader for players who spend their entire career with one team. Or is it Lemieux?
No,
it's one.
I would think it's Mario.
Yeah.
Who is more? Who are you competing? It's
players who spent their entire career.
Who
with
are
one
your
team.
2 guys you're thinking of?
It's either Yzerman or Lemieux.
So who has more points between Yzerman and Lemieux?
I think one of them's 7th and the other's 8th. I've looked at this list a lot.
Career stats.
What's it like being married, Adam? Is it different?
It's kind of the same.
So different, right?
It's pretty much the same.
Mario
Especially
Lemieux
when you
has
live together.
1,723 points.
Okay.
Steve Yzerman has.
Could have just looked up the list.
That's not how you spell Yzerman. Google. Steve Yzerman has 1,755 points.
So he has more.
Wow.
Told you.
So
in
yeah,
a few more games.
in a few.
A few more games. Mario Lemieux is ridiculous. So yeah, that's an interesting thing. I got to look up. It's funny which one of you said Curtis Joseph?
Oh, I tongue slipped when I was mentioning Brodeur.
So I saw him at an alumni game recently in Oshawa, Leafs versus Habs.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. Cujo still got it.
Oh, yeah.
He was the star of that game.
He's in good shape, too.
He was unbelievable. The Leafs stunk. They were bad. And it was just like old times, relying on Cujo. And he's still like doing all these crazy flexible saves and stuff. Because I guess he's like one of the younger guys at these alumni things.
And he also is in incredible shape. He stays in shape.
He was good.
Yeah. Nice guy, too.
Really good.
Really nice. Loves talking about...
I don't know if I've ever met him.
Yeah, I met him once at a book opening, and he's just a really nice dude. He's just great. Just a really good guy.
What a guy.
Yeah, I'd like to have him on one day. Hopefully we can.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
We'll do a remote podcast in Keswick.
I don't think he still lives in Keswick.
He probably does.
No.
That's where all the rich people live.
Is that true?
No.
Okay.
I have no idea who lives in Keswick.
Nikita Zaitsev could be back Wednesday night, which means Roman Polak is definitely still playing. So which of the three...
Did you see the practice lines?
No, what were the practice lines?
I was stunned. Well, okay, the practice lines were all weird.
From when?
Today. They had practice today.
Is everyone back? Just like hanging out back in at practice?
Except for Matthews.
Oh, sure.
Matthews. So the top line was Matt Martin with William Nylander in the middle and Zach Hyman.
Okay.
I think that one might not stick. I'm going to go out on a limb.
That's so funny.
Soshnikov took part in practice, which was interesting. Riley skated on his own, and Zaitsev was in the lineup.
Marlo, Kadri, Marner, Van Riemsdyk, Bozak, Brown, and then Komarov, and with Soshnikov, Moore, and Kapanen.
Yeah. So Komarov / Soshnikov, Moore, Kapanen.
So Gardner, Hainsey, Zaitsev, Dermott, Borgman, Carrick, Borgman, Dermott, Polak. So
yeah, so
I'm not really sure
that's
what.
how Kristen Shilton had it.
Yeah. Who am I looking for?
I think his name is Dave McCarthy.
Dave
had it a little differently. Is that his name? I feel like this is his first year on the Leafs beat. I'm not sure.
While you guys look up that, I was gonna say I thought they would get today off and like the entire weekend, so I didn't think there would be any Leafs news.
Oh
today,
no!
Everybody
They got to learn. Remember, they got to keep learning how to play hockey. Remember that. They must continue to learn hockey.
This is very strange to me that they wouldn't just get this day off.
Gardner, Hainsey,
yes,
Dermott, Zaitsev, Borgman, Carrick.
Yeah, buddy. And who's the extra?
Polak.
Buddy.
Buddy. Which means Gardner's getting scratched next game, and Polak's going to play with Hainsey.
Well, Riley's not even back.
No, I know.
Is the interesting thing.
That's not fun.
Oh,
well, he can't play. He's suspended technically for Wednesday's game because he was elected to the No, he wasn't elected to the All-Star team. No. Because I'm thinking he got the replacement spot, but he never actually got it.
No. Well, they were considering him and McAvoy, and neither could play.
Okay, yeah.
That's crazy.
I find it interesting that
And they just replaced him with a forward. It's Braden Point.
Yeah.
Fine.
I found it interesting when I saw this morning that they'd recalled Kasperi Kapanen, and it was kind of like, oh, that whole thing that we've been yelling and screaming about. It seemed to look good the last 2 games going into the All-Star break. Now I hope it continues. But
Well, it's
where does this go?
At the beginning of the season, you could be like, look, it's a numbers game. He's the easiest guy to send down. But it's looking more and more like, okay, he's got no business in the minors. He's good.
And there are players on this team that he could replace and is better than.
It's key that he is a good fourth liner. Not everyone can be called up and be a good fourth liner. I kind of think that's part of Josh Leivo's problem. I think if someone were to get hurt and you put him on the third or second line or something
He's
like
better
that,
there.
Yeah, I feel like he's not the greatest fourth liner. Kapanen embraces that role. He lays hits. He's fast. He's nasty.
Plays
he's got a little
shorthanded.
scoring touch. Plays shorthanded. He can kill penalties. He does it.
Weird question.
Sure.
Super weird question. Let's say you've got 2 defensemen that can kill penalties.
And that's it.
Let's say you're the Leafs and you have 2 defensemen that you reliably count on to kill penalties.
Okay.
Why don't you ever throw out 3 forwards and 1 defenseman?
Yeah, I have kind of wondered that.
Like, why not have your fastest guy? So let's just imagine you got a pretty fast Leafs team, right? So you've got Kapanen. That's a good guy. Connor Brown's a good guy to throw out there. Zach Hyman's a good guy to throw out there. Who else could conceivably do it?
So who'd you say? Hyman?
Mm-hmm.
Komarov?
Brown.
Marlowe they use sparingly.
Komarov. You already said, I think.
Yeah.
Moore, if he's playing. Soshnikov, if he's playing.
Yeah, if he's playing.
Like
Kapanen.
So, like,
he's playing.
if you're trying to give Ron Hainsey a break, why wouldn't you throw 3 forwards out there?
Or like 3-on-3 overtime. Like, how come the Leafs always have to have a defenseman out there?
I've never understood that. I
Think
don't
of how
get that.
deep that team is up front in terms of talent.
I guess because the 2 defensemen that you mostly use, Morgan Riley and Jake Gardner, are 2 of the best players on the team.
Yeah, and then after that, I don't think you need to use one.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think you do.
And yeah, maybe for your third shift, you just throw out 3 forwards. Like, I would love to see
Willie, Austin, Mitch, go.
Yeah.
You guys talk it out on the bench which one of you is going to play back or figure it out on the ice. Go for it. Go for it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't need to have Ron Hainsey out there in 3-on-3 overtime.
I agree.
Let him have a rest.
I agree. So I wondered about that. I've always kind of thought if you got a weapon like Kapanen on the 4th line, who's not going to get a ton of minutes anyway, so he's going to be fresh. Get him out there, and that's
like special teams are not the same.
That's
why
again,
do you need?
Why I wonder, and I again not to
Screw
take
it, throw out
swipes,
3 defensemen.
not to take swipes at Matt Martin, but I wonder about that role because. So he doesn't do special teams, and he's very, very like the 4th line doesn't play all that much.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better served to have a guy in there? And I'm not saying it's Josh Leivo, but wouldn't it be better served to have a guy in there who can play special teams? So you can have 2 guys on that line, 3 guys on that line that can play. You're shorthanded.
I'm not going to take anything.
I think he's had a good year.
Yeah, in the fairness of this conversation, I'm not going to take anything away from Matt Martin. So what does he do? Supposedly he's a good locker room leader. Okay, fine.
Need
I'm
that.
not in there, so I'm not going to say that. Yeah, need that. He fights. It keeps the flies off, as Mike Babcock says. Okay, what else? He hits on occasion.
And usually that puts him out of the play.
Yeah. Or leads to an instigator. Or it doesn't, despite the fact that it's clearly an instigator. Without taking away any of those things from him, you got to do more. Got to do more to stay on this team. It's too hard. It is too hard to be a forward for the Leafs. Like, if you're going to have blemishes, you better be Mitch Marner. Like, Mitch Marner's got a ton of blemishes, but God, he's Mitch Marner. Look at the good things he does. Can you do those things?
Jake Gardner has
No, but
blemishes.
I do this, and this. Well, this, and this doesn't add up to what he can do.
Right.
Jake Gardner has blemishes.
But he's not a forward.
Martin Marincin and Jake Gardner both have blemishes. Martin Marincin's not on pace for 45 points. Or 50 points, whatever it is Gardner's on pace for. Can you do what Jake can do? No. Do you have the same faults? Yes. Get off. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
It's Matt, no insults whatsoever. Got to be better. Look at Josh Levo, can't get in the lineup.
Well, I wonder too if
more.
With Nikita
Hard.
Zaitsev back in the lineup, is there a need for Polak to play?
No.
Because if the whole rationale was him killing penalties and being dependable, you got your penalty killer back. You have Hainsey, you have Zaitsev. What do you need?
The thing that has bothered me about Polak on the penalty kill, like, okay, fine. Like, I saw some people say, like, oh, his role in the team is actually very key. And
Who are these some people? Who?
I don't remember.
Who said that?
Well, no. It's key in that he is a stopgap in the meantime. Like, they don't actually plan on using him long term. But, like, they have so many young defenders. Like, wouldn't they be better off developing these guys? Like, have they ever thrown out Connor Carrick? Just here, try it. Come on.
I think they probably had to last year when he was a top 4 guy on this team, right?
I don't think they did. I think it was always they loved Riley on the PK.
Hunwick,
Polak. Polak was a pairing. I'm trying to think. Did they have Zaitsev kill penalties last year?
No, I don't think so. He did mostly penalty or power play.
Which is so weird that they're like forcing him to do that.
Well,
that's
what they did with Morgan Riley. They put him through the ringer last year, and now he's playing power play.
Too bad.
Yeah, he didn't play any power play last year. It was Zaitsev and Gardner.
It's bizarre. And weirdly, his numbers are up.
Weird.
It's very
Remember
strange.
Morgan Riley was bad last year, and everybody was wondering why he was bad?
Like, it was just weird to me that, like, they tried Borgman at the beginning of the season, and he struggled. And then they were like, okay, we're done. No more of that. He's bad and will always be bad. How do you know if you don't try it? That's always been my wonder.
Well, maybe they know in practice.
Polak's better on the penalty kill now. Okay, I'll give you that. But why not try it with a clearly more talented player, like Dermott, for example?
Maybe that's what they're doing, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the Leafs look like with. I mean, even without Morgan Riley in the lineup, that is one of the better looking lineups we've seen this year.
Is it just because Polak's out?
Not just because of that, but I think you're optimizing your lineup. I mean, okay, so before
I love the idea of keeping Gardner and Hainsey together.
Me too. But then, do you put Riley and Zaitsev together? And how did they play together when they did? Because I would imagine that they were pretty offensive and no defensive.
Yeah, well...
And Riley's having one of the best seasons of his career with Hainsey.
Yes. Well, and now Gardner's having one of the best stretches of his career
with Hainsey.
God, who would have thought that Ron Hainsey would be the straw that stirs the drink? But, like, at some point, like, okay, what Hainsey's been credited with is passing information on to Riley. Well, surely he absorbed some of that. And, every teacher at one point in their life was a student who was taught. Maybe Riley can pass on some info. Mm-hmm. Maybe he can be the guy who drives his line. I don't know.
Well, I would expect him to be. But it is interesting. Ron Hainsey for sure has taken on, like, a leadership role in terms of how they're going to, grabbing Travis Dermott and being like, are you going to get in there or whatever? Like how, remember at the end of the game the other night?
Yeah, that was funny.
And I'm sure Travis Dermott appreciated it. Tell me what to do, man.
Oh, yeah, and Hainsey was like, oh, I didn't, he did some sort of interview. He's like, I didn't really mean anything by it. It's just we have a system, and I'm making sure he knows exactly where to go. And then
the play ended up working, and Dermott was the guy that cleared the puck.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't need to tell Riley that. Because they've done it enough times.
Right.
They know we're going to go here or we're going to go there.
Do you think when Riley comes back that Travis Dermott's the guy that stays in the lineup?
Yeah.
So who comes out? Because Riley is a left shot?
Yes. Who they sometimes force to play right. So here, can you bring up David McCarthy's thing again? Just so I can look at it.
Yep.
If I remember it correctly, I want Gardner Hainsey to stay together.
So do you do...
Yeah, I keep that together. Dermott moves down with Carrick. Riley... Sorry, let me just say what it is. Gardner Hainsey, Riley Zaitsev, Dermott, Carrick, I think.
Over Borgman.
Yeah.
Borgman's had a bad stretch.
Yeah.
So maybe it's okay that he takes a few games. And again, maybe they could just send him down for a bit.
Well, now the what did Babcock call it? The rotation? That makes a little bit more sense now with this lineup, I think. Maybe not a true rotation. I mean, Dermott should never be coming out of the lineup.
No.
Unless you're sending him down for, like, contractual reasons for some whatever.
Travis Dermott is an NHL player now.
Yeah. And let's not forget he can play the right, too. So, yeah, some nights you have him on the left with Carrick, and other nights maybe you have him on the right with Borgman. I don't know. Double rookie pairing. I don't know how keen Babcock would be on that idea.
I don't think they have a choice. It's
not like Polak's never going to play again. He'll play. Come on.
I know. But just the thought of mentioning it. All right. Do we do the press conference?
Sure.
All right.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Jesse.
Can you run down what happened to you on Saturday from 9 a.m. until 9 a.m. on Sunday?
Is that an actual question, or are you
is.
asking that, Jesse?
No, it's a question.
9 a.m. until 9
It's
a.m.?
from Bill, last name.
Nye?
No, Bill, last name. Wants to know.
Like the mayor?
Sure. Last name.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so
Toronto humor.
I took my dog for a walk at 9 a.m. The first of my groomsmen arrived at about 9:45. The last of my groomsmen arrived about 5 minutes before the photographer was due to show up. His name is Jesse Blake.
That was me.
In the meantime, there was sandwiches and cheese and grapes for the guys.
Not Don.
What's that?
Not Don.
Not Don. There was no
Oh.
Don.
We got a kid. He's getting married. Imagine he was just your wedding day hype man. Watching me play Grand Theft Auto. Oh, what are you doing? You got to steal that car. You got to punch that guy in the face, take his money.
We had we watched Steve play Grand Theft Auto because it was very entertaining to watch.
That was weird.
Oh, it's fun to watch.
I was like, anyone else want to play? And
No,
you guys
no.
were like, no, it's like a movie.
Yeah. It was fun. We were hanging out. And I was so nervous. It was like nice to have a distraction. So we just kind of had some champagne and orange juice. Sorry, Prosecco and orange juice. It's not champagne.
It's not from the
It's not
region
from
of
the same
France
region,
where
even though
it's-
it's the same thing. And we hung out, and then we got our pictures taken. Huh?
Amy Schumer says that as a vagina in a TV show about kids going through puberty.
What?
Big Mouth.
Oh, Big Mouth, where Amy Schumer's the vagina? Yes, it's so... She is so fucking hilarious in that.
Isn't that sentence ridiculous?
Say that
Yeah,
again. What
it
is it
is.
again?
So the line, it's not from the Champagne region of France. Ah, Amy Schumer says that as a vagina
I must have missed that episode.
in a television show on Netflix.
It's okay. Big
That's
Mouth.
2018.
You want to watch a funny cartoon? Big Mouth on Netflix. It's by Nick Kroll, and there's a few other
John
writers.
Mulaney.
Yeah, John. And it is so funny. It
and
is so.
polarizing and inappropriate.
Oh yeah. Well,
I
isn't
watched,
this show's a little polarizing and inappropriate.
I watched. I
But
went
Amy
to watch
Schumer's
the
the
trailer.
vagina.
I just went to watch the trailer, and I've never seen it was like 60% dislikes.
Really?
Oh, really?
40%. Oh yeah.
Why?
A lot of people, why is this? How is this allowed?
Oh,
A lot of people were very indignant
with the
about
times.
this.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
God forbid there be any truth, because it's so true. Like some of the stuff that happens about kids going through puberty, and it's funny, really funny. Anyway.
But no.
So we hung out after that. So basically, we put our suits on, got pictures taken, and then I took mine back off again because I'm like, I'm going to spill on this thing. And then
I brought sweats. I'm smart.
it was.
And we
smart.
should talk about Steve taking off his suit.
Oh, well. See, when you take off your suit, you got to put it back on again. The problem with Steve is he doesn't put his suit in one place. He left his suit in many places. So there was a big rush at the end, I believe, to find, was it your pants? Definitely your bow tie.
Just the bow tie. Oh, and the script.
Yeah.
Or not the speech.
Yeah, Steve's like, oh, I can't find the bow tie. So all of us are looking the hotel. Did you find it?
I did.
Yeah, so it was
It was just
hanging off
hanging there.
a stand-up steamer that we have for Caprice's business, and then Steve's like, "Where's my speech?" And luckily, I had seen it under one of my big couch cushions, and I knew it
I
was
would've
there.
never
I'm like-
looked there.
And I'm like, "It's under the couch cushion." Steve goes, "Okay, good." And it was the most Steve moment to happen because it was,
You almost went to the wedding without a bow tie.
yeah, you were like, you could tell he was considering it, eh? Like, it was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm just gonna have to accept that I
Absolutely
can't find
not.
this.
I
No.
was not considering that.
You were
believe
considering
you.
it. You had to be.
Well, Jesse, you can't rip on me too hard because about an hour later, I was a bro.
Oh, yes.
And by a bro, I mean you volunteered me for an idea, but I mean I agreed to it.
I believe we'll get to that part of the story.
Oh, okay,
That
fair enough.
happened when we got to City Hall. Adam, keep going.
Well, I mean, from there, we took, instead of booking limos for the day, I was like, I'll just take Uber. And so we just booked Ubers.
Tubers.
For
I
sure.
invented that trademark, patent pending.
Oh, okay.
No,
Good.
I copyrighted
Put it
so
on a shirt.
Nobody can take that.
We'll sell it.
Okay.
All right.
I will sell it.
Oh, okay. It's floof. It's a floof.
Okay. Why do you keep getting that there? How do you do that?
I don't know, man.
It's weird. It's
What
like
do
the
you put it
rates
on your
is-
eye?
I don't know. Tell your story, man.
Anyway, no, we got there. Tell me, tell
Get off of my floof.
tell the story about City Hall because I can't. I don't know.
Oh,
what
we
you guys
got
are
to
talking
City Hall. We're sitting by the elevators to go up so Adam can meet his lovely bride.
about. We were told, by the way, not to come up because
Yeah.
there's no place to hide in City Hall. So they're like, you can't see her before she gets married. So you have to stay 3 floors below and hang out with your guys. And there's like other weddings walking through. It's like a conveyor belt of weddings in there. So anyway, sorry.
That's
Jesse.
Adam Wild.
So Alanis walks in. This is all after
My mother,
walks in,
Alanis, that
who
is.
might be the most famous woman in Toronto. Because the other wedding party that was happening after us, they stop and to say, "Is that Marilyn? Is that Marilyn?"
Alanis.
Oh, sorry. Is that
Is
Alanis?
that bit dead? Is that dead now?
Alanis?
Yeah.
I mean, people still call her that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
still
still see
funny.
congrats Alanis and stuff on her Instagram all the time.
She,
I think people know, and I think that's what's fun about it. And there have been several threads on our Reddit page about, so who is Alanis Morissette really Adam's mom? And I'm like, Alanis Morissette's not old enough to be my mom.
later in the night, I told her I was
She's like 18 when I was born. Are you
So
kidding me?
funny.
Come on.
I told her I was nervous about my speech, and she went, Alanis loved it. Alanis loved it. And I was like,
I know
you, Alanis.
my mom thinks it's hilarious. So
Good.
anyway,
Great.
Anyway,
sorry.
so yeah, the wedding after us that was coming up, the bride stuff. No, it was. I believe it was. No, it was somebody in.
I think it was both.
I think it was the bride, and then Alanis calls and she's like, "Where's the man who's getting married? Let me go shake his hand." And then she did that. It was very nice of her, and I saw her do that. I was like, "Ah, the kindest person on earth." I'm in her presence right now. Anyways, after that, I had forgot my pocket square in my suit jacket case thing because I didn't know it existed in there.
How could you?
Yeah, so I said to Steve, can I have your pocket square? And I'll go find some scissors and I'll cut it in half and we'll both have a pocket square. So
Which is actually a great idea.
So
they don't
I-
expect you to return the pocket square.
I took his pocket square and I went to security and I said, "Security, do you guys have scissors?" And then he's like, "No, we don't have any scissors, but I have an X-Acto knife." And I said, "I am not capable of handling an X-Acto knife. Can you please cut this pocket square in half for me?" And he did.
That's a great idea. My dad went to the hospital for stitches because
yeah,
of
me
an
too.
X-Acto
Oh,
knife.
God.
I got 6 stitches in my.
Oh,
thumb.
yeah.
yeah.
I forgot you and my dad have like matching scars.
Pirate
Oh,
scarf.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
just
crazy.
cutting a box.
So him and his buddy, they held up the pocket square and they shivved it right in half. And then I walked over to Steve and I gave him his half and
That's
I got
right.
my half.
Because it was the bow tie wasn't the only thing we couldn't find. It was the pocket square as well.
Mine?
Yeah.
No, we found mine.
Oh, it was Jesse's that we couldn't.
yeah, I just never had one.
We were in
Oh,
shambles.
Yeah,
okay.
so
We were
then
not adults.
Oh, okay.
We ended up both having a pocket square, and you can
That's
continue
amazing.
the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we got up.
No, we took some pictures before.
Oh, we did some pictures, and then we did
Yeah.
that video on the. You should need to check out my Instagram.
It went like semi-viral.
Yeah.
I feel like 60,000 views.
60,000 views, 3,800 likes. Which, if the pictures after it, I've never posted the pictures after it. That would be the most liked thing I've ever had on Instagram.
That's a lot.
3,800 is a lot for me. Not for Justin Bieber, but for me, it's a lot. And basically, it's a video of the groomsmen and me on the steps. Just look it up. I'm not even going to wreck it for you. I think it's pretty funny. So I don't know.
Hashtag.
That was like your idea, wasn't it? I forget. It was Derek's idea.
I thought it was yours.
It was
Yeah,
kind of one
I
that,
think it was yours.
it was Derek. Yeah, it was like mine, but it was like a combo of ideas. Essentially, like it was supposed to be like you walk down the stairs at prom, and Derek, I think my groomsman Derek makes a joke about, oh, we should have one where Adam's walking down the stairs, and we're all doing, oh my god,
Oh my goodness. You look so nice.
But then I told my mom, I'm like, we gotta do this, but it's gotta be a video, and my mom knows how to shoot, so my mom shoots this dumb video, and of course it went viral. It's well shot, I thought.
It's very well done. It's almost
Yeah.
like she's done it before.
Yeah. Anyway, so my dad, mom, and all of us were hanging out down there, and then we went up to the actual the floor that it's on, which is the 3rd floor of City Hall in Toronto. I wasn't allowed to look right as I left the elevator
Yeah.
because my fiance was right there. And then walked into the room, and it's weird because you're standing there in these little City Hall rooms. And it's not like at church where there's like an organ playing or something like that. It's non-denominational, and they've got like a little Bose stereo in the corner that's puffing out as much smoke as it can. But there's too many people in there.
The officiant had like a remote, like as
Yeah.
well as like the things she was reading. She was like, the music's playing, and then
She's turning up the volume and turning it down again. Yeah, and so I'm standing in there, and it was very funny because like, you know, your life goes into blur mode, right? You don't
That's a weird moment.
you don't totally process. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is weird. And the guys were all standing to my left, and I'm like, you know what? You guys should probably get out there and grab like the bridesmaids, right? Like you should probably, you know, walk in together. And it's so funny. All of them except for Jesse had done this before, so it was like no problem. No, normally you have like a rehearsal dinner. We didn't do that, right?
Yeah.
So normally you go through this. We went through the
Old
steps at Steve's wedding because it was a Catholic wedding and those were involved. And there are steps to that. Whereas us is like go in and grab and we're already well-trained monkeys at this point. So we kind of, you guys all went out, you grabbed a person each. What was hilarious is Mrs. Dangle did not end up with you. You didn't walk in.
Yeah, that was weird and funny.
So she looks at me and she's right as she's walking in with her friend Alex, and she's like, look at my date.
It's a hot date.
It's not Steve.
Yeah?
And then, you know, the doors open.
Variety. It's the spice of life.
The doors open. I see Caprice, and I had to tell you, like, I think my now wife is I've always thought she's a beautiful woman, but I've never seen her like that. It was just like she was stunning.
You cried like a loser.
So I did cry, but here's the reason I cried.
Like a damn loser.
What an idiot.
So I tried to keep my
Nice
emotions.
feeling haver.
I try to keep my emotions in check, right? I'm like, I'm not gonna cry. And I look over at her mom, who's walking her down the aisle, and her mom is just in tears. And I'm like, broken, done. And that's when I started.
That was your mistake.
Don't look at the parents.
I was just tunnel vision on.
When a dads,
Dangle.
I think are a little different. Dads are of that generation are expected to keep it in check. Keep it in check.
Not the weddings I've been to.
No? Oh man,
Worse.
I think that's kind of the one time they kind of let loose. And
Do they?
Shed a little tear.
Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Did Mrs. Dangle's dad break?
No.
See, that's what I was
there
thinking
you go,
about. Is
yeah.
him.
So I was able to look at her mom who cries at everything. So it was silly to me. I'm like, well, this is just a day that ends with Y. Like that's nothing. Key, if you're going to get married, eyes on your wife.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or I guess
eyes on your
groom
husband.
to be,
Groom.
whatever. Husband to be, sorry. Don't look at any old people. Whoever you look at in the audience, don't look at any old people. Old people crying is the single saddest thing in the universe.
I can hear my stepmom
Don't
sobbing.
look at 'em.
She's not even an old person, but she's in her mid-50s, so she's not an old person at all.
That's so old.
And she's just, I'm just hearing her go, and I'm like, oh no, I can't look at you. I can't. Or I'm gonna lose it.
Your father, I think, held it together.
Yeah, he's very stoic.
Yeah,
right?
I think when you're talking about that generation, I think your dad's definitely that type.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And he, I mean, it's funny. He is getting more emotional as he gets older. And his dad, after he had like a quadruple bypass when I was like 14, and after that, you know, life was so precious. He just cried at everything.
Aww.
Like we'd bring the dog over, and he'd be like, "This dog is so beautiful," and he'd just start crying, and like,
That's
it's like
great.
he's just so full of joy, and like it's just.
That's a weird thing.
Because you become, as you get older, you feel frail, right? And so anyway, that's how he explained it to me. So back to the wedding, Caprice is walking towards me. I'm like, oh my God. And you know, it's funny. You don't even know what to do. It's like you forget what to do with yourself. And I remember looking at Caprice, and she's so nervous, and I'm so nervous, and I'm trying to get a read on how she's feeling. And I can't even get outside of myself, right? Like you're kind of, we're both kind of looking at each other like, here we go. And you know, I can't remember a thing the officiant said. I know she read a poem or two. I know that she asked me to repeat some stuff. And
You did.
I
And I
remember
did.
when you and Caprice tried to leave the room early.
Oh yeah. Well, because
without
we're
signing your
stuff. She
marriage
had us
license.
kiss, and then we're like, okay, we're done, right? and there's like
It's like the movies. In the movies, they don't show you awkwardly sitting there in front of the whole congregation.
Yeah. She's like, we're going to take a
Stuff.
brief musical interlude. Click, 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 click with the remote. Up comes the music. And then, you know,
She presses the wrong button. Hey, Mom, say the way you move.
Sorry, not Led Zeppelin. That's for after.
Yeah.
So Steve witnessed because I was just kind of like, people are like, we need like, as I'm walking in, you have to make a signature too, right? And I'm like, I was like, Steve, and then I brought him in, and I'm like, you'll remember this, right?
So
As
I
if you
had to
remember
sign
being
something
the-
on the way in.
Yeah.
And then
It had to be you.
After the ceremony, I had to sign again. And there was some moment where we need a witness. And Adam just goes, who wants to do it? It doesn't matter. And the officiant is like, it does matter. Who signed the papers outside?
That's right.
I'm like, sorry, me.
Come on over, Steve.
So you guys came back inside and you signed.
We signed.
My signature took 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And
And
No,
then
because
we.
this is about Steve.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to make fun of myself.
Which you should do in this moment about you, clearly.
And Jesse did make fun of you. You tried. He did.
Damn, I can't even make fun of myself good.
Go get coffee on the Sportsnet logo.
I will get coffee on the sports
Scott
logo.
Moore will be down here so fast. No,
we're
I know you're fine, man. You're fine.
Tell your stupid story
So yeah, then we go to
about your wedding.
we were gonna get pictures taken at Toronto City Hall and like around the Toronto sign, but it's raining. And it's January, and we're like, listen, it's +7 in January, which for our United States listeners means it's 7 degrees over freezing, which for January in Toronto is a freaking blessing.
And
So we're like, you know
now
what?
the opposite of that.
We will count our blessings. We'll go to the restaurant. They had food, they had hors d'oeuvres or whatever set up. We had our pictures done. I had family pictures done or whatever. And then I remember going down the stairs, and Steve was one of the MCs along with Caprice's bridesmaid Jen. They called us in, each couple, and then we all sat down at a table together. It is boiling hot in that room already because it's an old Toronto like row house building. Was a house, is now just a restaurant, and it's a place called Ruby Watch Co. Friends of ours own it, and
Some of the best food I've ever had in my entire freaking life, dude.
it is one
Oh
of.
my God.
I kid you not, it is one of the best restaurants in the city. Period.
The
And
seafood was especially unbelievable.
so good, right?
They had this little, I don't know, pita bread, I guess it was.
The
that was
little like Red Lobster biscuit.
Oh,
my
yeah,
God,
those
that.
are
I'm
the
not-
That was
cheddar.
unbelievable.
I'm not
Those
even
are
talking
the-
about that.
those
I'm
are the
talking
cheddar
about
biscuits.
The
They're the best.
triangle
those-
pieces of bread that were like dipped in some oil.
Baba ganoush or something?
I had
Yeah.
about 4 or 5 of those.
You had the whole
slices.
damn plate.
I
was so
had-
good.
It was so good.
It was so good.
I nearly
That
cried.
we did for our appetizers, we did like lobster mac and cheese and lamb shank
was
on a stick.
Stupid good.
And there was some other great stuff, but that lobster mac and cheese was insane.
Your cocktail was just gasoline.
Yeah, so
That was pure fuel.
Caprice had a cocktail named after her, which was called Capri Sun, which is funny. Capri Sun. Get it? Right? Steve made it
So
up. And then
Steve
mine's like
took credit for that.
Because I came up with it.
Why does he get credit for
Because
that?
I came up with it.
because I think he came up with it. Yeah. We asked.
Who did you ask?
We asked Steve and Jen, I think. Steve and the MCs. Yeah, and you
She came up with bad ideas, and I came up with a banger.
so he
When
gets
did you ask them?
like several days before. This is how we are very disorganized, right? The fact that wedding
Which
went the
begs
way it
question,
did is a
why so
freaking
far
miracle.
in advance, Adam?
It was a miracle that like things went off as well as they did.
So
truly.
you asked Steve to name a drink for Caprice.
Well, because we were
Specifically.
trying to come up with names and we couldn't.
Okay.
Because at this point, like you got to understand, a month
Stop
out.
trying to discredit me.
No, I didn't give you credit on the day of. I remember we had a mini argument because I said you didn't come up with that, Steve.
Yeah, because you were
when,
telling
when,
me-
when could you have possibly done this?
You
and
were
then they
telling
made
me about
this
things
drink.
that I was there for.
And so I didn't believe that ever
No, we
happened.
did.
So I wanted to ask a third party,
Right.
That this
Someone who
actually-
was there.
So
I can witness that.
I can give this man credit, and you're not gonna let me give you credit. Okay, you don't get it.
You are going to be a spectacular parent.
Oh my God! You will argue your kids in every
I
corner.
don't
They'll
want-
be well behaved. They'll just shut up. They'll never say
It's
anything.
just incredible at never being wrong.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue your story.
Well, and the thing is that you have to understand the way I think of things. My dad perfectly summed it up in his wedding speech about us. Adam has a chance, or the thing. I oversimplify things, and I tend to find that it works. People overcomplicate things. I oversimplify things. Wedding went perfectly great.
It was a fantastic party.
There were some things that maybe were a little last minute, but they happened.
Like the whole damn thing.
Like the whole thing. And guess what? Still happened.
You're right. So that's
Simple.
the way it should be done.
Keep it simple, kids.
That's the way it should be done then.
I'm just listen, advice with Uncle Adam. All right. And so yeah, anyway, so we sit down, we have some great food. Here's the key thing that you need to do with your wedding. If I can recommend one thing. I'm gonna recommend a couple things.
Before.
But if you hear nothing else that I say tonight, listen to this. You make sure those damn speeches happen during food. Not before food, not after food, during food. Why? Because everybody's sitting and their mouths are full. So they shut up and they're fed. right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't
100%.
stand where I got to be at weddings and I got to listen to some assholes inside jokes about the bride or groom for 45 minutes, and then I get to eat my appetizer. Screw that, man.
I went to
Screw
a
that.
wedding. I went to a wedding where each bridesmaid got a speech.
Oh, no.
Are you out of your mind?
Why?
Are you out of your mind?
And then we had to sleep out. Like, what, how different
And
could the
they
story...
were all the same. 6 identical speeches.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that like how different can anybody's speeches be? How, if I had all my groomsmen give speeches, how different would they be?
Oh, you enjoyed high school, really?
Yeah. Oh,
Great.
Did you get drunk and do stupid things? Whoa!
Oh,
Whoa!
that you still only half-heartedly mention because there's family here. We can't say. Well, then don't say it. Bring out the lobster bread thing.
Lobster bread.
Bring
Mac and cheese.
out the salad. That's how desperate I am for these speeches to be over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had.
So you didn't do that.
No, I didn't. We didn't do that. We believe wholeheartedly that you should be eating and listening to a nice speech, and maybe talking a little bit because that's what people do. They yell out. And what was great is that people were really engaged in the speech. It was really, like all of them.
I was yelling throughout all of them.
Yeah, Steve's was awesome. And I remember my dad came. So my brother-in-law, my eldest brother-in-law, Todd. Todd is married. He's been married, his kids, and that sort of thing. And Todd's 47. There's a big age gap between first and last child in the family, and Caprice is obviously the last child. And Todd said everybody was wondering how anybody could follow up Steve's speech. And then your dad came in and crushed him.
Oh, he was great. He was so good.
And it was like,
He did.
Well, it's a little unfair because my dad is also a former broadcaster, so it's kind of like that's what that's what the family
Steve will
does.
never be.
No, man, that was pressure.
Really?
Dude,
You were really good,
Adam.
Your speech was fantastic.
Speech at Adam Wylde's wedding, though. Like, there's like 19 Gemini Award winners in that room. I felt like
American listeners have no idea what that is. Canadian listeners also have no idea what a Gemini is.
Canadian Emmy?
Canadian Television Award.
There you go.
You know who had the best speech of the night? Adam.
You thought so?
Yeah.
No.
I thought your speech was so good. It made me like when you mentioned the Tinder off the top.
Yeah, I said
and
first off, I want to thank the hard work of people that created Tinder.
Like right away, you got everybody, and I was like, "That is so good at radio."
You said fucking.
Did I?
Yeah.
You for sure said it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you pulled a Costanza.
Well, nobody seemed to mind. I don't think.
No.
No, and you were able to like summarize your love for Caprice in a speech, and you got, and then like somebody, Caprice grabbed the mic and called her friend a pirate hooker at one point.
That's right.
And
That's
there was a lot of drama. It was a fantastic speech. That was my favorite speech of the night.
Thank you, Jesse.
So, yes.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yes.
I was wondering what your thoughts were, and I want to get to them in a second after I've finished kind of summing up the night because there was a lot going on, and I'm sorry. I hope I'm not boring everybody. The reason I want to ask Jesse is Jesse never been to a wedding before, so I was curious about his impressions. But
They're not all at Ruby Watchco.
yeah, and they're not all that fun sometimes. I've been to some not fun weddings, but
There's more clothes.
yeah. So we get to eating and then we get to dancing. The other thing I'd recommend is why the hell does anybody cut the cake anymore? I
That
told
was
Caprice.
such an inconvenience to your night.
Yeah.
I told Caprice, I'm like, beforehand, I'm like, nobody cares. Nobody cares about this, right? Everybody needs to watch the cake cut. I'm like, why? What does it matter?
And when you did it,
Nobody fucking cares.
did
You know
you
why?
no. Caprice's mom really cared.
Okay, Caprice's mom really cared about everything that night, though, right? It was Sandy. Her name is Sandy. Sandy was on Sandy fire. She was on fire, and she was every moment. This is the best moment, and I was like, because she was all like, I love her. She's so sweet. She was on the verge of tears all night. So it was always up here.
No one wants a Charlie in the box.
And she's like, she grabbed me at one point. She's like, I just love you. And she just pinching my cheeks. She's like, I love you so much. And,
What a mom.
and she's the,
Yeah.
she was momming out hard, and she should. That's what happens. But
The night's basically hers.
yeah, really.
Mother of the bride.
So we're cutting this fucking cake,
like a
and no one
Joker.
cares. And I'm like, this is. And then I didn't want to say it to Caprice at the time, but I fucking told her so, right?
Yeah. You were.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
I do this for a living. I have to do not party planning, but I gotta keep people entertained for a living. That's what I do. And I know what people. I have a pretty good sense of what people care about and what people are like. Yeah, this is a weird tradition that I don't quite get anymore. That's why we kind of did away with a lot of traditions that you normally see at weddings because we don't personally care about them.
You didn't keep any of the cake, eh?
I have no idea what the cake is.
Okay. Well, so that's a thing. So I didn't realize. So I'm cutting up the cake.
I didn't even
with
have the cake.
co-MC.
I did not have a piece of the cake.
It was a pretty good cake.
It was really good.
We're
Oh,
cutting
good.
up like the
I had
the
2
little
slices.
top tier, which you're supposed to keep. You're supposed to freeze that and like have a piece on like your first anniversary.
Why would I just get a fresh cake made at the bakery?
100%.
Go down to Longo's and get a Cinnabon.
I'll just go
Like,
back to the
fuck
place that
that.
made the cake
So
and have them remake the cake.
So as I'm cutting it up, I realize this and I'm like, ooh, I made a mistake. And then I told you and you're like, oh, that's the thing? Nah,
I don't care.
I don't care.
you're
Hey,
supposed
I
to
want
freeze it?
year-old frozen cake for dinner.
If you preserve it well, it's good.
You're supposed to
No.
freeze it for a year?
But you know what? You know when it was better? Fresh.
Just like the chewiest cake ever. You're just like it's a piece of meat. Just
We had a
really
good cake. I'm sure the carrot in our cake is aging very well.
So if when we go to your house, is there a piece of cake in your fridge right now?
There has been since 2014. Yes.
What are you supposed to do with that 10th anniversary?
I think it's firstborn child, or it depends. It's an interchangeable, ridiculous.
Firstborn child?
Yeah.
Man.
Let's celebrate with food poisoning.
That's got to be dangerous, man.
Yeah.
You guys make fun of me for putting my jeans in the freezer.
least he's not eating
Ezel's
it.
like gonna have a kid, and her immune system's gonna be down, and you're gonna eat fucking 5-year-old cake.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That must be a Catholic thing.
I have no idea.
Might be an SL
That
thing.
cake is older than
I think
Iggy.
that is the first.
Iggy is younger than the cake we have in our
Okay,
freezer.
that's okay. This is the first I've ever. I cannot be a Catholic thing because I've never heard of that before.
Maybe
before
it's a
SL.
Scottish
I
thing.
might be a Scottish thing.
Maybe it's an Aberdonian thing, and I have no idea.
Maybe it's just like to toughen you up because Scotland's you got to be tough, right?
You know
It's
how
a tough-
angry it makes me every time I'm hungry that there is a cake in the freezer that I can't eat?
That make me crazy.
One of these days, I'm just gonna, like, when I'm a hardened married vet, like 5 years in minimum, I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna take this pressure. I'm gonna eat this cake, and she'll be mad at me, but for how long? It won't last. But this memory of a cake will last a lifetime.
How long would it take her to notice?
So
The birth of our firstborn child.
She'd
saving
forget
the top
there's so much
tier
going on. Saving the top tier.
of your wedding cake. Saving the top tier tradition. Back in the 19th century, couples saved their top tier for the christening of their first child. Today, couples generally wait a longer period of time after their I-dos before having children, so they'll save a slice or tier of cake for their first wedding anniversary.
19th century. What did they freeze it with? I know they had ice
There's
boxes,
like a
but
Seinfeld episode dedicated to that.
like that's really bad.
I don't know how far back
I bet
in the
people
19th
died.
century.
I bet people fucking died. Like that's back when you could die from a cold. You want to tell me that 5-year-old cake didn't kill you back
were
then?
freezers.
Although they probably didn't wait 5 years. They probably had kids like right away.
1913, freezers were invented for home use.
And before that, it was ice boxes. You got a big piece of ice and you put it in a box, and that's how you kept things cold, but you
So
didn't
keep
freeze
it
it.
nice and dank and wet.
Yeah,
Moisture.
in a wooden box.
So, wedding trip. Where were we in the wedding story?
Well, anyway, we're cutting the cake. So we got in the way. We did the first dance. First dance was really great, and then by the third. Here's the thing: first dances are weird because you wanna have the first dance, and I understand the premise of the first dance. But my thing is, do we have to do the whole thing in front of everybody by ourselves? I feel that's a bit weird. So
The thoughts during mine were, songs are long.
did
Did you have that?
We picked a 5-minute Blue Rodeo song.
Oh, God.
Sorry, Caprice picked a 5-minute Blue Rodeo song. So I was like, all right.
Freebird.
Yeah, we picked a 12-minute song with a guitar solo for 5 minutes of it. So Caprice and I thought, or we told Tom, our DJ, who was fantastic, by the way. He was so much fun. To invite everybody in by the third chorus. Just invite everybody in.
Smart.
And people did. And then that was great. And we finished it off and it was great. And I feel like I didn't see Caprice most of the night. Like that's the other thing when you get married. You don't actually hang out with your partner at all.
No. You do that up front.
Yeah. You're working the room the whole time. You're not talking to your fiance. You're hanging out with you. I was basically hanging out with my groomsmen.
You
like,
have
it was
a
just,
lot of hugs and a lot of hands to shake because there's a lot of
Totally.
family you haven't seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a small wedding and there was still family that I hadn't seen in a long time. So there was that. And then we danced. And then Jesse and the guys decided to start taking off their shirts. And
Jesse?
all I can remember is
this was not Jesse's fault.
No.
no.
This is
Well,
all
Jesse,
stupid Derek.
Jesse took off my shirt and he pulled it so hard that in the morning I couldn't get the cufflinks out of my shirt, and I realized my Maple Leafs cufflinks are fucking bent, or one of them is really bent. I'm gonna take it to a jewelry maker; it'd be fine.
Oh no, I'm so
but the
sorry.
cufflinks-
Those are the nicest cufflinks.
That's the one.
Oh,
the cufflinks the Leafs
no.
gave me are bent, but it's not your fault. You don't know. Who
You're
knew
a
of
bad person.
I'll take it to a jewelry
Sorry,
guy. He'll
Master.
fix it.
But I am so sorry that
We'll
happened.
live, Jesse.
I feel like
it's
no,
Jesse.
you won't. The wedding's over.
Get spoiled forever.
Call the divorce lawyers,
The
people.
voice.
The cufflinks.
The voice
just
lawyers.
annulled. It's just annulled.
Yeah, it's not even
Canceled.
If you can't even make it to divorce, you're just at annulment. You know something went wrong. That's wrong.
Done. You married Britney Spears in Vegas. No, so Jesse, that is not typical of weddings. It's just for whatever reason at Derek's, the entire wedding party was just down to their underwear
Yes, we were.
and maybe ties. I don't remember.
Yeah, we ended up
floor.
we ended up in our underwear, and Derek started just shaking up beer cans and
Formula Oneing the dance floor.
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And,
Yeah.
and they scolded him at his own wedding to tell him to stop.
Guys! Come on!
I have some wild friends. They get a little crazy.
Oh, I can tell. I was one of them.
Yes. Oh,
So-
you. No.
Like,
anyway.
it's like 9 o'clock, and I'm getting, hey, at some point, shirts off. And I was like, dude, no. And then they just come up to me and they go, okay, here's what it is. Bow ties, offensively deep V's. Let's go. And I'm like, guys, it is 11:15. Like, there's a lot of wedding to go.
Yeah.
So we had to, go all the way down to chest hair territory and then put your bow tie back on. And then by the end of it, it was just no shirt and your suspenders.
We were Magic Mike XXL.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
well, Jesse and Derek actually looked the part. No offense.
Wow!
Oh my God.
I've just been waiting to say that just to bug you. I didn't actually mean that, but I've been saying that.
Oh my God!
I was like, when we get to that part, I'm going to say that Jesse and Derek looked like it. I've been planning that all day.
I got
See,
roasted.
what people who don't know who are listening, there was only 3 of us.
Oh, I got it too. And I was like, well, great. Everybody gets to see my love handles now. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Someone posted a photo with the caption over it: "Magic Mike before photo."
Oh.
I'll take fat Channing Tatum.
You were not fat. Get the hell out of here.
No,
apparently.
Steve is built. Like,
Yeah.
He's like a truck.
I was
You know?
kidding, man. I was kidding.
Not a sturdy truck, because Adam, my shoulder is freaking killing me because Derek and I picked you up.
Oh, yeah, they picked me up during Ice Baby.
I was holding the
And
butt.
I had to, yeah, you were holding the butt.
It's a lot though.
It is.
Well, that's why Jesse's it's good for long fingers. He's got long fingers.
Yeah.
He can hold all the butt.
I can grab all the cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was during Ice Baby. I'm like, you guys couldn't have picked a better song than Vanilla Ice. Anyway, it was.
It's got a good.
Yeah. Anyway,
pace to it.
we had a really. I mean, I thought the dance floor was fun, and then it was time to go home. I know you guys kind of kept partying for a little bit longer, but it was time for us to go home. We went home. Caprice got some late night snacks, got rice all over the couch, which I had to pick out all the next day, and we just hung out and did nothing.
We went across the street. There was a bar across the street.
The cowboy
Yeah.
bar.
There was a live band. The friggin' guy in the band,
The lead guitarist.
the lead guitarist, is the guy from the band Aberdeen, which wrote the song for the LFR theme.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
Yeah,
Al Rowe.
I was in bands with him in high school.
You were. Like, what a ridiculous... And, like, it was right next door to the Opera House. And I was telling Jesse, I was like, Adam performed there, right? He's like, what?
It's so crazy. Like the
There's a
entire
YouTube video
night.
floating around, right?
There
Yeah, we
is-
watched
oh,
it.
what do you type in? What do
Don't
you hear?
even- don't. No, don't.
Why?
No,
Why?
we're telling the entire
Don't.
audience to go watch this video. So
I want that hidden. I thought that was private. Like, I thought you just had access to that or something.
No.
Anyway, we'll just leave that for now. But, yeah. It was a fun time. I mean, it was a really... I mean, Jesse, so here's what I want to know, Jesse.
can I tell everybody what to search?
Fine.
Okay, so if you go on YouTube and you type in The Revelers at Opera House -18, so that's the word 18, you will see Adam
She was just 18.
playing the Opera House. When
Adam,
you
who I
were
think was
not
17.
16, 17?
16 or 17. Not well.
No,
It's
he's
important that,
killing
it's
it.
important that you know that I was not
And
very
you
good.
spell Reblers Reblers.
Well, there you go.
It's
Secret's
at
out.
it's currently at 295 views. Our next episode, I'm going to bring this up in the press conference and see how many views it has.
Wow.
And just leave the comment Jesse sent me.
Whoever hosted that, I don't know whose video it is.
0 comments.
Wow.
I don't know who Joey Boberton.
That's
Boberton?
Russ. That's Russ, the guitar in the band. Joey Boberton.
Okay, yeah. He posted on November 1st, 2008.
2008.
10 years ago.
Wow.
That's crazy.
There's videos on YouTube that are 10 years old.
There's videos on YouTube that are like 11, 12 years old.
Wow.
It is crazy.
So yeah. Jesse, I want to know. A guy had never been to a wedding. What were your expectations, and were they surpassed? Were they not? Like, what did you think?
So, 2 things really. I forget who I was talking to and who told me this, and I was telling them how this is my first wedding, and they said, "Well, this isn't really a wedding. This is this other kind of fun Toronto hipster wedding where we're just kind of throwing a party at a restaurant." And I said,
apt description.
yeah, and I said, wow, this is really cool because this is just like a Saturday night where you're just at a restaurant.
You look fantastic,
Yeah, except
and the food is great.
It's like a fancier just night out on a Saturday where you're just with your friends at a restaurant. There's a dance floor, music playing, get great food, and you look amazing for some reason, and you're just having a great time. So it was an incredible night. And yeah, the other thing, Adam called me on Sunday, or yeah, you called me and then I called you back, and I was telling him how it was one of the best nights I've had in like years, like one of the best nights of my life.
Dozens of weeks.
Like one of the best nights of my life that I can remember.
That's amazing.
It was such a good time. So yeah, I have no complaints about the entire day and how everything went off without a hitch.
I love that.
It was just a good time.
I love that was described to you that way. That was how we wanted it. We didn't want a very traditional wedding. And no offense to anybody that's had them. I had a blast at Steve's wedding. It was very traditional. But it was, it's one of those things that, like, for us, we're just non-traditional people. We could care less about a lot of that stuff. And it's not because we don't like it. It's because we like trying new things. Mm-hmm. And that's what we got to do at this wedding, was try a bunch of new stuff. And it worked, right?
Yeah, and like smaller weddings, smaller venue, like that's a good thing. Like I've been to weddings in
Italian weddings.
Foot to Bridge that might as well have been at like the Metro Toronto Convention Center, like where they have exams. Mm-hmm. 400 people. No one knows anybody. Like
That's no fun.
I
don't know if I like that.
Where like my Nona, who's like the matriarch of the family, was notoriously like sort of snubbed. Like while the bride and groom were going around saying hi to everyone. And the reason they did that is because they weren't 100% sure who she was. So like if you don't know who a grandmother of one of the families you invited is, maybe they shouldn't ought have been invited.
That's stressful,
I don't know.
man.
That's too much. 400 people.
That's too much. That's too much pressure to put on the bride and the groom.
I think Adam threw the perfect wedding as someone who's
great.
never been to a wedding before.
Well,
and I think that's how a wedding should be.
I had no bar to jump over, to be honest. There was no pre-existing.
It was perfect because it was just a party for your family and friends.
And that's how we looked at it.
I couldn't have asked for more.
It was every wedding I've been to has been unique, and it's been appropriate for the couple that threw it.
Okay.
Through the wedding. And yours was that.
That's fair.
Yours was that. I've been to cottage weddings that were appropriate for that. I've been to good Foot to Bridge weddings. I should throw that out there, that they're fun and I enjoy food. They're really good. Yeah, like it just needs to match the couple. And yours did.
I've heard of Italian weddings that like turn a profit.
Oh, the busta.
Yeah,
oh
like that they make like, and there are issues now in Woodbridge. My friend and groomsman Philippe was telling me, he's like, I've been to Italian weddings where they hire a police officer to watch the cards, the gift box, what is it, the busta?
The busta,
because you can get in there and walk away with $30,000 or $40,000
legit
easily. It's just one card box gone. And no one's there to stop you. So it's an easy smash and grab thing, and it's been happening more and more and more in Toronto.
Wow.
So now, because that's the Italian community is like it or lump it, they're in Woodbridge, right? That's where the majority of them are.
Woodbridge, Maple.
That's where they're all. So that's where they go, and they find out where these weddings are, and they go and they take it. So that's Italian weddings are now hiring cops, off-duty cops, to just watch the booster. But it makes sense.
There was an Italian wedding I went to. It was a friend of ours who wasn't Italian, but she was marrying an Italian guy. Enormous family. we were the table who didn't know anybody, but at least we knew each other. And these two guys just walk in, and they were either looking to wedding crash or who knows, maybe they were looking for the big old box with all the money in it. And Mrs. Dangle, of all people, all 5 feet of her, walked up and started grilling these guys on what the hell they were doing there.
Oh, and
They left very quick.
Oh, wow.
They left extremely quickly.
yeah, she's not to be messed with.
Oh, she has a terrifying aura about her. Just, I don't know. Imagine if someone 5 feet tall got in your face. You'd be like, they're crazy. they know something for sure.
They can do something. They can, yeah.
Do you remember the thing from this past summer, or were you? Oh, you might not have been there yet. So we had rented this house, and we were going to go to a wedding the next day. And these two guys walked into the wrong house. They just walked into the wrong house, and all of us, half of us were sitting there quietly. The other half were like, "Hey, are you like? Can we help you? Can we?" Mrs. Dangle, get the hell out of here.
Wow.
Didn't ask any question. Get the hell out of here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
And you know what they did?
They got out.
They got out.
They left. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah.
Don't mess with her.
I would suggest this too. Anybody that has any, you take a risk having a winter wedding. But I will tell you this. One thing that people said was it was sure nice to have something to look forward to in January. Because by the time summer hits, you have your wedding in August. Everybody's been to at least 3 beforehand, right? And you're the 4th wedding on the list. And it takes up your entire summer. You are planning that your entire summer. And you can tell me all day that no, we're ahead of the planning. We're good. Trust me, that last month before the wedding, you are running. You are running to get it done.
It's not true.
What do you mean last month? You mean last couple days?
Last couple days for me.
It's not true.
Yeah,
It's not true.
Yes, it is.
That's absolutely not true.
What do you mean?
We had almost everything done.
Okay, well, you had Mrs. Dangle.
Yeah, so that's a cheat code for sure.
Yeah, like, come on. That's like running. That's like playing Grand Theft Auto and having all the weapons. Come on.
Fair.
Okay, like, come on.
Fair.
She's on it. Caprice and I are not on it. And anyway, so what I would recommend is don't have your I'm not saying don't have your wedding in the summer. What I'm saying is don't be against having it in the winter. Prices are lower, and it gives people something to celebrate in January when there's nothing to do. That's all I'm saying.
Time's gone on. I've gone to more and more September, October weddings.
Oh.
And stuff like that. I think it's starting to become a trend.
It's nice.
Because it's such a pain in the ass to it's legitimately difficult to book any venue anywhere, or like a church. It's difficult to book a church, the house of God. You can't even book it because it's already full of weddings. So people got smart and they're like, all right, when's the weather still okay?
Fall is beautiful.
Yeah, and no one's there. October.
Yeah. Well, and what was great about Steve's wedding is that you could actually take pictures outside, and that's the one thing we didn't get, right? Like you were outside, it was green, it was beautiful.
It did rain though.
It rained a little bit, yeah, but I mean, it was pretty, right? And we had a fun time outside. So
it held off.
Anyway, that was the wedding.
And you by fluke booked it for a weekend where there was no Leaf game.
Yeah, completely, but because I booked it a year and a half ago.
Fluke.
It was funny.
I was grateful.
Caprice said it was like we were up late one night. And she's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna book this thing." We just booked it, and they get back to us and like, "Okay, we got the 20th and the 27th of January, 2018. What do you want to do?" And I'm like, well, 27 is Daryl Sittler's number, so that's got to be some sort of good luck, right?
And that's it.
So here's the fluke.
That's it.
Total fluke. The week before, I'm doing the Leafs Nation podcast and with Sasky. And who's our first guest? We did 3 shows in a row. Daryl Sittler. So
Insane.
I had to tell him. So I told him, and he like in his very Daryl Sittler way was like, "Well, that's very nice." But I got to tell Daryl Sittler that I booked my wedding on the 27th because of him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. That episode's
and
coming
like
up.
a year ago, you weren't even doing that podcast. The podcast didn't exist. It wasn't even a thing in the universe. And then a year later, you're doing this show,
hanging out with my boy D-Sits.
and you're talking to City Boy,
City Boy. I like that.
and you're telling him about your wedding. That's crazy.
Adam's life is dope, and he does dope shit.
Yeah, that was.
You like that?
I do. I'm a big fan.
Steve once told that to a girl after he told her that he was writing a book.
I did. I was running distraction for you.
Oh yeah, were you? Or were you just bragging about your book?
I was 100%. Listen,
that was on my bachelor party, was it not? Because Steve said
being
the whole way, the whole
is
weekend.
so hard, okay?
And
you don't appreciate the hard work that I put in.
on that entire weekend, Steve would just be like, My life is dope, and I do dope shit the whole weekend long.
I got it from Berkshire.
Oh.
He was the first to say it. That weekend. Yes.
All right. That's
I'm
Aziz
sorry,
thing.
Jesse. Did you get that person's number? Yeah, you did. Shut up. I did my job.
Did you ever text them, though?
No, because his life is dope and he does dope shit. That's not the point. I did my job. I'm not there to hold your hand through the thing. Get a number, get out.
You know what was one of the funniest things that happened all night? When Steve gave an incredible speech.
He did. Your speech was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
What was wrong with it, Jesse? Go ahead. What was wrong with it?
And then
I want to hear.
And then he saunters back over to the table. He says, "Hey, did anybody get that on video?"
Oh.
And we all said no.
No, we didn't. None of us did. Nobody.
That's fine.
No, I think the reason is that at your wedding, the speeches were fantastic. Nobody got them on video.
No. But it's fine that like you had to be there.
Yeah, you live it in that moment.
Also, I'm not so arrogant where like beforehand I'm like, watch this. You're going to want to get this.
Oh, you didn't set up a tripod?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, bros. Welcome to Adam's wedding.
Jump cuts. I keep leaving the podium.
You just like, press behind a bar, right? So you're
just hopping up and down. Yeah.
Whoa.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Get ready to smash that like button. Yeah.
Smash that marriage button.
That would have been really funny if we'd given you like a YouTube square or something.
That would have been good.
Anyway, that was how the wedding went. I hope I didn't bore you with the story.
Well, I mean, you should have known a wedding story was coming when you started with, so here's my wedding.
Yeah, right. And if you weren't interested, you could have tuned out at that point.
Yeah.
I think, too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should we have talked about all the hockey that happened over the weekend?
Yeah, really.
Shut up.
Oh, look, Brad Marchand got booed. Whoa.
Probably should have been there.
Yeah. Again, fun for the people there.
Yeah, that's what this is for.
That's it. Do we have any more questions?
One of the questions on the Reddit page, the reddit.com/r/Steve Dangle, is now that, sorry, I'm trying to find who wrote it, but I don't have it here. It says something along the lines of, oh, there it is. Whoa, Black Betty wrote, since the playing field is even now, congratulations, Adam, by the way, will Adam or Steve be first to have a useless paperweight? And by that, they mean babies.
That was the part of my speech that I forgot to write in. Was Adam and Caprice, I just want to congratulate you on no longer having to deal with when are you getting married questions. You have now graduated to when are you having children questions.
Do you have a date planned?
No, I think it's going to be a while for us. For sure. Like, we're not there yet. We just aren't. Like, I mean, if it happened by accident, then it happens. But, like, it's one of those things we are definitely not planning for it, for sure.
The score is currently 2-1.
Yeah, and I think we're in the process of we're gonna buy a house probably next year here, and we're probably gonna get a second dog.
Oh,
because I mean Charlie's worked out so well.
So that would even all the odds because Steve's still up 1 house to none.
Yeah, he's up a house and he's up a dog.
Yeah. So you gotta step up your game, Adam.
That's true. I do. So yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. So
lazy jerk.
I know, right?
Die Fools wants to know what is your go-to drink?
Oh, just in general.
You're at a bar, unlimited money. What drink you order?
Depends on what kind of night it is. If it's a cool, chill, laid-back night, because there are different nights.
Yeah, that's interesting.
If you're at a classy bar and you're just hanging, and you're having like a lounge, and you're hanging with your buddies, and it's like
is
a
there
quiet
a piano player?
Piano player at this bar,
Okay.
leather chairs,
That's so key.
right? So in that case, I'm going with an old-fashioned. Bourbon,
Don Draper.
a little bit of orange, a little sugar in that. And that's close to the drink that I had named after me for the wedding, which was Rocket Fuel. Holy moly. My Aunt Nancy had one of those. She said, woo! That went right to my head.
I had half of one, and I was like, I'm going to stay at half of one, or else I'm not going to deliver the speech.
Right.
Get up there. Fucking Adam.
So old-fashioned. But if it's one of those marathon crazy nights, I like to keep it light. So we go with a vodka soda with a lime, but you do not put the lime in your drink because that's gross.
Gin and tonic also good.
Gin and tonic's good. Not quite vodka soda though. Doubles. I always do doubles. That way you're ordering. What you want to do with a double. It's not because you want to be obnoxious. If you want to be obnoxious, that's your thing. My thing is always, how do I limit my time at the bar? how do I limit the amount of times I need to go to the bar for my drink? And a double vodka soda, because most bars you go to, there's 3 bartenders and 85 people trying to get a drink. If you can get 2 of those, walk away, that's good for 25, 30 minutes, right? Rather than one little shot in here and now I got to go back up again. So that's my thing. If you're at a party bar, get your doubles, get out of there.
Word to the wise, you may have noticed a trend where every time you have draft beer, you wake up with a terrible headache.
Oh, yes.
I have news for you. It's the draft beer. Generally speaking, don't do that at a bar. The stabbier the bar, the dirtier the pipes are for that draft beer, likely. The more toxins you're ingesting, and the more hungover you will feel. Have draft beer at a brewery and nowhere else. Have bottles. Your friends will look at you funny, and then the next day, you'll be the one charged with going out and getting the food, probably.
Yeah.
Because they will be immobile.
That draft beer is brutal, eh?
Yeah.
It's so bad. It seems like such a great idea. There's nothing better than sitting down on a patio in the summertime and having a pint. But if you push it much beyond that, and they're dirty taps, baby, you're in for it. It doesn't matter what you do. Because at that point, it's not about being dehydrated, right? That's just about...
It's literally about the upkeep of the pipes used to dispense
It's bacteria.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't drink water that out. You have to... you can drink away a hangover, right?
Was it the steam whistle tour or something I went on? They explained how often you're supposed to clean them.
Is it a lot?
It's more often than any of the places we drank in and Scarborough did.
Because at those places, it's never.
Okay, without saying the name of the establishment, you know the one that we drank at less often in Scarborough? Yeah.
The band used to play shows there.
Yes. How often do you think they cleaned it?
Probably never.
Probably never. Weirdly, it's very common to have a 2-day hangover.
They seem like this particular bar would let us play there, and they'd pay us each $75 or whatever, which was fine for a band, right? It's great.
I saw the owner get in a fist fight one night.
Yeah, but the owner clearly owned the bar just so he could drink his own beer. Like he was one of those. So it was kicky and stabby for sure. And the bar down the street wasn't as bad, although it looked dingier. It was far better run.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Anyway, I guess we're done for tonight. But
you guys don't want more questions?
Oh, sure, we can
There's
take more
so many
questions.
questions.
Oh my God,
today.
Dangle's gonna be so mad.
Do you want more
She texted
questions?
me a sleepy emoji. 1 minute, 2 minutes ago. Now.
Are all muffins English muffins because muffin is in English?
Yes.
Okay, next question.
To satisfy you, yes.
Why, if the NHL is a North American league and is so concerned with growing the games, why haven't they tried growing the game in Mexico?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Hey, there's an interesting one. No. Could Mexico City ever support an NHL franchise?
Yeah, they could because they got 30 million people there. So yes, they could.
Well,
but
that's what I'm saying.
Here's
Brooks.
the problem. I think, and I don't think anybody wants to say it, but I think there are things about Mexico that make the NHL nervous. I think there are, I think those things have been alleviated a lot lately because they've done it. But there has been a huge.
I don't know a damn thing.
Okay, well, there's been a huge issue with cartel stuff in the past. Absolutely. I mean, like let's call it what it is. And Mexico has really regained control of itself in the last 10 years because it knows that there is enormous opportunities like that. I'm sure the thing Mexico City wants most of all is an NFL team.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I think it would be a phenomenal success. It probably could support two. What it probably also needs, why isn't the MLS in there? Mexico is huge into soccer. And I know they've got teams in I guess there's other leagues that...
Yeah, I don't know what the league is called, but they have a professional professional leagues down there.
But that, again, they could support an MLS team for sure, right? So I think we're going to see that because I think Mexico is big time on the upswing. With those, with some of the stuff that happened in the 80s and 90s, I think it gave people a little bit of pause, and I think rightfully so, business-wise. Are you going to want to go into a country where you're not quite sure what you're getting into, right? Wouldn't you go with the safe bet?
And shows like Narcos don't help the reputation of an entire country.
Yeah, exactly. And Mexico, for the most part, has always been fine. But
I know Fargo has scared me away from North Dakota.
But I think in this case, why not Mexico City? And I think the question is the interest there? And if you do want to get in there, if you're the NHL, you probably want to be in there first, kind of like what they got in with Vegas, right? Because Vegas is eventually getting an NFL team. But Vegas has embraced the Golden Hawks because they're the first.
Nice.
Golden Knights.
Golden Knights. I played for the Golden Hawks.
Hill.
Yeah. They've embraced the Golden Knights because they're there and they're there first. And I wonder if the same thing will happen if you did Mexico City. I think it's kind of fun. Like if you can have a team in Florida, if you can have a team in Dallas, I think Houston's another market that could definitely use an NHL team. I don't see it's a top 10 market, top 5 market in the States. No reason why there shouldn't be an NHL team there.
After Seattle, there's a very short list of like markets that seem interested, and Houston's on it.
Yeah, so Mexico City for sure. I think there should be MLS, NFL, and I bet basketball would kill there too. So I know
they've played games down there, yeah.
Yeah.
The Spurs have. So
man,
and they've played an NFL game down there. They sold out that giant 100,000 seat stadium they have.
And it's not as though Mexico doesn't have expendable cash. Like there's tons of money there. So you can the demographics may be a little bit different, but there's money to be made in Mexico. And if you include Mexico in that, I think the first league that successfully pulls that off is in for a huge payday because then you get your Spanish language broadcasts, I would imagine too, become instantly more valuable. If you're ESPN and you carry the games in Spanish anyway, I mean, God, like that TV deal all of a sudden goes through the roof because Mexico is what 90 million people.
Yeah, but you worry about how much of the population is English speaking because that's your main market, and
but then all of a sudden Latin American is a new market, right?
Exactly.
Like a city like LA, I think it's like 55% are Latino.
You're throwing a lot of numbers,
right?
at me.
I mean, and all the way down the coast there, that's New Mexico, Arizona, Texas. They were all part of Mexico. So there's a huge, yeah, of course. Back there was a Mexican-American war, and they took all that back.
I knew about California.
Yeah, that's where the states won it all because they attacked Mexico, and Anyway, history lesson. But I think there's a huge opportunity there, and it's just a matter of you got to find the right business people to jump in. And, cross-border stuff's always hard. Look at what, Canada struggled. I think Canada could have 3 NBA teams, for sure. You can't tell me that Montreal and Vancouver can't support NBA teams. But because of the cross-border stuff, that imaginary line we always talk about, it's tough for Canada to do it. How can Canada not have an NHL team in Quebec City, which has 250,000 more people than Winnipeg? Well, because it's across the border and it's French language speaking.
Imaginary line
and this imaginary. Anyway, that Mexico City would be great. It'd be cool.
It's not something I've ever even thought of.
It'd be cool is if they figured out some way to do like an outdoor game in Mexico City.
They've done it.
Have they?
They have done it.
That would be sick. Those 100,000 person stadiums.
It was an international game. I don't remember. Well, Mexico was playing, I think. I don't remember who they were playing.
That's awesome. Well, I'm all for it.
I think the ice was probably bad.
Wouldn't it be sick if we could fly down to Mexico for the Stanley Cup Finals or an All-Star game or something like that? Wouldn't that be amazing? And that's what I think,
man. A lot of people barely survive Nashville.
Here's the thing I think with the All-Star game, too. If you're going to tweak the format a little bit, why wouldn't you have an All-Star game in a non-NHL market from time to time?
I was just going to say that.
Like, why don't you have that in China? Why don't you have that in London?
Saskatoon.
Well, no. You don't do that in Saskatoon, man. You're trying to draw the international audience.
Oh, like you're trying to.
Everybody come to Saskatoon in January.
Yeah, no.
You won't need to. Saskatoon will show up.
I know. Well, we know that.
What are you talking
but
about?
Saskatoon's not the market you need to win over. London, England.
Okay,
Beijing. Tokyo. That's where you have it.
trying to think of nice things for Saskatoon
Flin-Flon,
there, Jesse.
Manitoba. Bring the All-Stars to the world. And if I was going to dip my toe in from Mexico City, first thing I'd want is an All-Star game. I think that'd be neat.
That'd be cool.
And it's cool for the players, too, because they get to go somewhere neat that they've never been before.
They still, I don't know. Players still hate going, I think. I don't know. Interesting.
Anyway.
Also, now Erik Karlsson's going to join the Lightning, so there's that little repercussion.
Oh, yeah? Why is that?
No, it's not actually going to happen. Unless it does.
Apparently, Austin Matthews asked Drew Doughty about coming to the Leafs, and I guess
it's tampering.
Is it tampering?
I don't know.
Can players tamper?
No, according to the rules, it's like definitely tampering, but they're not going to say anything or do anything about it in a million years on account of every player does it. Yeah. And also, like, why can't it be... See, then you get into the tricky territory of context. So what happened was I know we're trying to wrap the show up, but Matthews said to Doughty on the ice, "Hey, so you coming to Toronto?" And Doughty laughed and then skated away. But you could easily argue the context of humor there because Doughty created this huge hubbub in that interview he did with Craig Hustins.
Yeah.
So Matthews could just be like, "Well, I was kidding." I mean, are we just taking it verbatim? Or can you suggest something like that, but tongue in cheek? That's why they're not going to make anything of it. It's
Right.
dumb story. Yeah, players don't talk. You're right.
Yeah, nobody talk to each other. Nobody say anything.
No.
Anyway, love you guys.
I know what's written in the rules.
I'm not sure when our next show is going to be. I'm not sure if it's Thursday or Friday, but if it is Friday, because they're at least playing Wednesday
And Thursday.
so it will probably be Friday.
Might be Friday.
I will not be here.
Well, damn.
So you guys will have to do it, and you'll have to see how much the Rebelers video peaks on YouTube. And Jesse, nice sunglasses, my friend.
Are we recording Friday morning?
Potentially. If I do the LFR Thursday night.
We can do Friday night.
We'll talk. Yeah. Why are you like cooler with your sunglasses now?
I just do them on.
You
and
put
all of a
sunglasses
sudden-
on inside, you instantly feel cooler, right?
All of a sudden,
All right, we're done. Bye.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.